Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Science and Sorcery. My name is Sam Langford, and I'm so delighted to have you all here for one of our monthly one shots. We're here on the channel that brings together chaotic Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop role playing games and science. Sometimes quite explicitly, sometimes quite tenuously. You may be used to a different host being here, and Dagmar Dervedoven. Dagmar is not with us tonight, but we love you, Dagmar. If you're joining in and watching, hello, welcome in. We have an incredible show for you tonight. I'm not sticking around. I'm going to be hiding in the background for this one. But we have our absolutely wonderful Alex is going to be taking over in just a second to be our DM for the evening. Couple of points of order before we get going. This is a bit of an interactive show, so please do chat with us using the Twitch chat. We would love to hear what you have to say. If you're watching it back on the video on demand or on YouTube, sorry you missed it live. It was a great show. Stick around and watch it. We would also love you to use your channel points, which you can see at the bottom of the chat bar. You can use channel points to interact in some way with the stream. Sometimes you might want to tell the players that they have to introduce a science fact. So yeah, that's your chance to do that. We're also, as always, raising money for charity. We are raising money for the LGBT anti-abuse charity Gallop. That will be going on all throughout this stream and until the end of the month. So still plenty of time to donate. When you donate, Alex will probably say exactly what you can do with your donations, but you can potentially influence the game with donations that you make. And also for a special rest of this month, we do have a giveaway going on. So if you are able to donate £10 sterling or around $12 US or your equivalent currency wherever you may be, you will have the chance. We've got a new subscriber. Thank you, Chaotic Brain Person. Thank you for 7 months. Thank you so much. But yeah, if you join in with our giveaway, you get the chance to potentially win your very own dice bag made by the Cozy Gnome Co., which are really great little bags that you can buy from the Cozy Gnome Co. The link is going to drop in the chat for those as well. This one comes with its own specially made vinyl transfer for the Science and Sorcery logo. You can't normally get this, and also comes with a Roll with Pride insert as well. So yeah, £10, $12 minimum donation, and send us a DM on Twitter at Sci and Sorcery to tell us you've made that donation, and you'll be entered into a giveaway once that closes on the 31st of March. Anything else that I wanted to say? I think that is absolutely everything. So without further ado, I'm going to just bring in our players. We've got Alex Holt, we've got Ollie Wardle, we've got Robin Hayward, and we have Jess McLaughlin. I'm going to bring them onto the screen. Have a great show, folks. This is going to be so much fun. Over to you, Alex.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Transaction, in which our wonderful party of trans people will be on a train fighting vampires, because I wanted to do that. Did you want to each quickly introduce yourselves? Robin, it's at the top of my screen.
Hello, I'm Robin Hayward. I do lots of science communication stuff, talking about trees and rainforests and stuff. I stopped being an academic quite recently, so I'm still very much recovering. But yeah, a recovering academic, I think, is the best way to phrase my current approach to science communication.
And Ollie?
Hi, I'm Ollie. I work in secondary schools and I'm a queer science education advocate in secondary schools.
And last but definitely not least, Jess.
Hi, y'all. I'm Jess McLaughlin. I'm a postdoc studying lizard evolution at University of California, Berkeley, and I also do a lot of what I call on my CV science communication and outreach, but is mainly me yelling on the internet about cool science facts and trans inclusion in STEM.
Wonderful. So with that, let's get underway and we meet our characters. So, a long time ago, the Archmage Tiresias of the Many Colors sought out to make 2 artifacts of unique power for the benefit of trans people everywhere. After many years of painstaking ritual and reagents of impossible rarity, 2 enchanted jewels were wrought, the Estrogem and the Testosteropal. With but a true longing of the heart while touching the appropriate crystal, a being can change their body to match the truest sense of themselves and their gender. A wonder that Tiresias wished to share with the world, so that all may know their true euphoria of self. But it did not come to pass. The caravan that carried the jewels entered the grasslands of Pinrath and never emerged again. Their great magics were of no avail in locating the gems, and heartbroken, Tiresias departed this plane in the hopes of a kinder one to live out their last years. And that was the end of the story up until about 3 weeks ago, when a courier arrived at the door of 3 adventurers with an anonymous letter and a job for you. The gems have been found, and there is a narrow window in which they might be recovered. All you have to do is snatch them back from an auction run by the De Sicily family, one of the wealthiest vampire clans on the continent. With the pair of gems starting bidding at 1 million platinum, only the very richest of vampire society are likely to get a foothold in. Fortunately, you were also given a few extra bits to support you. Each of you is given a silver coin from an ancient vampire baron named Gargoon, which will conceal your mortal presence from being detected by vampires, so long as you don't take any injuries and let the secret out via the smell of blood. With that in mind, you are now sitting in a cabin on the Trans-Caucasian railway line as it winds its way through the pine-forested mountains and gorges of Transcaucasia. Mere feet behind you, a separate train connects to this one, the Midnight Dragon, the glossy black private train of the De Sicilies. And aboard it, the De Sicilies themselves, and the various parties looking to bid on these gems and the various other wonders that are being put up for auction. All to clear the gambling debts of one of the vampire's members. The train rattles through a tunnel, and you hear a click of a latch to the rear of the carriage, just as promised. The shutters of the Midnight Dragon clatter down, and then, 30 seconds later, you emerge from the tunnel and into a valley. And even though it is dusk, you now cross over into the hallowed ground of the monastery of St. Griselle as the train thunders on. You have 60 seconds to cross over while the shutters are down to protect the vampire, to make your way onto the next train and begin this heist. But let's first of all, before we do that, let's take a sort of bullet time pause to see who our adventurers are. Robin, could you introduce your character?
Absolutely. So my character is Sage Ulmasel. They are a wood elf. Their skin is quite a pale green. They're not entirely sure where that came from, but they're happy with it nonetheless. They have kind of pink and white sticky up hair and very much dressed for brawling. They are kind of leather duster, sword kind of not quite on their back where it would normally be because they're lounging so deeply against the available train cushions, but nearby, within reach. And they're quite happily just sitting, observing.
Awesome. And Ollie, do you want to introduce your character?
So Thomas is very, very pale. He's wearing full, deep black, almost suit, like Victorian suit garb, with an abnormally high collar, and is sitting almost somberly, considering what we are about to walk into when he hears the latch.
And Jess.
So I will be playing Kokov. They are also pale green, but unlike Sage, where it's as a wood elf, this is more of the earthy fungal green of a half orc. And they've got kind of messy red hair. They're wearing also Victorian style clothes, but more of a working class flair. And they have a very large leather satchel with all sorts of fun buckles, and when they were rustling through it earlier, you could see all sorts of vials filled with strange fungal molds and growths and strangely glowing liquids. And despite the fact they have obviously tried to dress up a little bit, like it's a shirt that doesn't have that many stains on it. They are not wearing shoes. They are on bare feet, and there is definitely mud on their feet.
Awesome. So, as we sort of unpause from that dramatic intro moment, the door is swung open and you are aboard the little platform outside the back of the main sort of public passenger train, and you hear the as the trains are sort of passing through. Your 60 seconds begin now. How are you getting onto the other train? It is not like the full-on front of another train at this point. It is literally like the next carriage, but there is a bit of a gap, and it's sort of all the windows here are shuttered down. You do know that a few carriages down there is a roof hatch that you can get down to, but you will have to get to that hatch, and relatively briskly.
All right. Well, it seems like the thing to do is, or sorry. Well, it seems like the thing to do is jump.
Okie dokie.
Jumping sounds good.
So, anyone who's jumping, can you roll me an athletics or acrobatics check? Your call.
That's a 15 from me.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh, I got that one.
So this might be a time for me to be a benevolent person as we're just starting the session, and I noticed that Hogan has given a yes. Alex in the chat has also got this. Somebody has advantage, so this might be a time to donate it to Jazz.
I will
re-roll
take it, because my other thing was using one of my luck points, and the first roll of the session seems a little 14.
14. Okay.
Well, I rolled an 8.
Okie dokie. So, in which case, Kokav and Sage managed to sort of like jump on and grab onto the sort of the top of the thing and sort of hoist themselves up. Thomas, on the other hand, jumps and then just like the back of the coat sort of catches on the door handle as you go, and you just sort of fall forward, and you manage to catch yourself sort of near the ground. You're like strung between the two carriages, and the floor is just going in front of your face.
Thomas just there panicking, like, help, help, help.
I have a rope. I don't know. Because you're holding on for dear life, but oh, actually, how far are they from me?
Okay, so the carriage is probably about 12-13 foot tall, so because
okay.
Thomas is slightly below the level of the carriage at this point, so let's call it about 14 foot down.
All right. I reach into my pack and I'm gonna throw him some of my rope.
Okie dokie.
Oh, let's hope and pray I can actually grab onto that.
I'll say, like, I won't make you check to like grab a rope.
I think I'm going to grab onto the near end of the rope just to help add some ballast. I think as little as I can provide.
Okay. So I will say, Kokav and Sage, can we have, let's say, an athletics check to just if you each roll and we'll take the better one.
19.
No worries.
Sorry, what am I adding to that? That was
Athletics.
athletics is going to be a 13 from me.
Okay, so either of those, with the 19, certainly is the better of the two. Between the two of you, you do manage to pull Thomas up. And the three of you are now aboard the roof of the train. You've used up the first 2 rounds, you're loosely using rounds in this sense, but you have another 8 to go to get down these two carriages. So I'm assuming you're just going to run forward at this point to the next carriage, and there is another jump to be made here to the next carriage. It's not quite as harsh as the last one on account of this is part of the same train rather than being a separate one, sort of adjoined. And there is one of those sort of like flexy tunnel bits that you could theoretically crawl over, but it would probably be fairly miserable to do so. But the call is yours. Falling to your death is less of an issue this time, hopefully.
Don't speak too soon.
Yep, touch wood.
If we do it as like a running jump, can we get advantage?
I'll allow it this time.
Say that again. Sorry.
I'll allow it.
All right. Wow. That was a great roll on all around 13.
Okay.
Let's try a jump.
I'm glad that
Far
had
better.
advantage.
A dirty 20.
Nice.
I've managed to get a dirty 26.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
So, Thomas and Sage do like sort of running jumps, sort of land with like the superhero landing 3 points. Kokav, not quite as opulent looking. It's more just like just sort of run up and then just do a little hop. Not quite cool, but it gets the job done. You are safe. At this point, as you're running towards it, you notice that approaching is, of course, the naturally occurring low-hanging bridge. As a small local path crosses over where the railway is. You've probably only got about 2 foot of clearance, and you are all a lot taller than 2 foot. So, any plans here? It's probably only about... the bridge itself is probably only about 1 foot. There's no side rails. It literally is just like wooden planks. So there are options, but if you smack into it, it will not do you any good. Oh, yep. Yep. It's coming up quickly. I'd move quicker back.
Yeah, so 2 foot is enough, but if we're lying flat, we can.
Yeah, lying flat.
We
will
shouldn't
work.
be immediately hitting into it.
Yeah, lying flat is a perfectly valid way of getting out of this.
A slightly less valid, but a very temptation part of my brain is saying, can I do the kind of where you're on your knees and you just lean backwards as flat as you can go, just to really style it out. But
I mean, if you want to attempt that, I'm not going to stop you, but
well,
it makes for good.
I think from a superhero landing, it's
Whatever you
easier
do.
than just going flat. Might be hard to
Question.
pull off.
How is the bridge anchored on each side? Is it just kind of like beams laid on some dirt, or does it have like a stone foundation?
So it's all wooden, but it's sort of it's overall flat on the top, and then it's got like some diagonal beams sort of embedded into like struts into the banks either side. So you're sort of in a gully, effectively, that's been carved out for the train.
So I know Sage had the obvious idea. What if I have a really dumb idea instead?
Sage will 100% back that.
Because I have mold earth, and from 30 feet away, I can instantly excavate some loose earth and deposit it up to 5 feet away. So I could de-excavate the one side of the bridge.
I mean, I would
Remove
say
the
the only
obstacle.
thing with that is if you did that, what would happen is the bridge would drop down onto the train. So, I mean, in one way, you wouldn't have to worry about it hitting you in the face if you did that.
Maybe I should hold off.
I was going to say, if it falls on the train, we can jump it, but we've not been doing perfectly on the jumps so far, so maybe that's
No, Thomas
Yeah.
drops.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
just gonna hit the deck, lay flat.
Okay,
Go
so
flat, yeah.
all dropping. Okay, so you zoom along and just throw yourself down as this bridge just over your head. And you manage to get back up, and there is one more jump to go to get to the hatch, which you can see at the far end of the next carriage. Make your strategic choices. Again, it's like the segmented one rather than like a full-on gap. So, not so perilous, but
Can we see any other obstacles coming up ahead of us that are giving us time limits on this?
okay. Make a perception check.
Is my perception. That is a 10.
Okay.
I have a 21.
Oh dang.
Hmm.
Okay, so nothing that Sage picks out. Kokav does notice that there are some low hanging branches ahead. If you get across this gap and run up to the thing, you should be in there before this is an issue. But if you take longer, that might start being an issue. And they're sort of spread out enough that you would literally have to be holding on to sort of resist them hit it. They would hit you. There's no way of getting around.
Like that. Great. All right, running jump.
I like the running jump plan.
Okie dokie. Anyone who's doing running jumps, do me some running jump checks.
Okay, let's see.
Say 24.
18.
Got. I've dropped that one
24
on
was
the
that?
floor.
Excellent.
Oh, you can't make that up. Is that 2 ones?
Oh no.
No, it's a 1 and a 7.
Okay.
Oh,
So it's a 9.
Okay. So Jess, to get yours.
18.
Okay, so this time again, this is Sage and Kokav make the jump, no problems at all. Thomas is just not having luck. The train goes on a slight bend, and again that coat just gets caught in like the pinch of the segments as it turns, and it's not enough that it's like caught enough to slam you this time, but it just like throws your balance enough that you just like trip and face plant into the top of the carriage next. But you're not like gonna fall off or injure yourself this time, but it just did slow you down, let's say. So
I'm a little bit winded.
yeah. So I assume with that that Kokav and Sage are and indeed Thomas are going to be running to the hatch.
Yeah,
Yep.
full speed ahead.
Okay, excellent. So you charge towards the hatch, and you can see those branches incoming. However, as you get to the hatch, you realise that there is some kind. It's not locked, but it is like there are multiple complicated latches. So if you want to get it open before these branches hit you, you're gonna have to come up with something, or just improv some good latch powers, I guess.
Mhm. I'm not really a breaking into things sort of druid. I could hit it with a stick.
These are the best I've got.
I am also probably more of a hitting it with a stick kind of character.
I mean, if you all want to hit it with a stick, that is perfectly valid approach.
Well, I'm
Like,
also
shit,
looking
shit.
at the naturally available sticks coming towards us.
Yeah.
Does that seem like a potential supply of stakes that could be lopped off with a well-timed sword? Or is it, there won't be time for that? It's not an inventory refuel, is it?
I'd allow that. I'd allow that. It'll be difficult, but I'll allow you to try.
All right, you get us.
nothing option, but okay.
How about you get us provisions and we break into this joint. How about that?
Perfect.
All right.
Sheathe my sword, ready to go.
Okie dokie.
I actually have a hand axe, it turns out, not just a stick. So
Okay,
That might be more proficient for cutting through wood. I don't know if that
yeah.
doesn't axe give better advantage than.
And I would
fairly
say,
thin sword.
yeah, and like, I would lower the difficulty for using an axe versus using a stick. Okay, so assuming this goes down how I'm picturing it, I guess Sage, roll some attacks.
Yeah.
You just have an axe lying there, like.
So
this
naturally.
yeah. This is what happens when your brother is a crazy blacksmith that may or may not be making pacts with unworldly beings.
How many attacks am I rolling?
I will say, because this is, let's say you make 2 attacks.
Okay, 2 attacks. And what's an attack in D&D? Is it plus strength or how's that rolled?
It should be. Have you got a weapon equipped on D&D Beyond? If you're using D&D
I
Beyond?
should do. Let me see.
Should say next to that.
Oh, maybe it's not. I should have set this up maybe a little bit better. Let's check my. I've got a scimitar.
Yep.
Which does attack. Okay, so it's right. So it's 1d6 plus 4.
Well, it'll be the other number you want. The
Oh, wait, just for plus 7 on a
Yeah.
on a 20. Yeah. That is a 27. Nat 20 on dice.
Okay, so you for that, I'm just gonna say you literally go into like, I've got this. You kind of stand in front of it and do like a whirlwind of like slashing and just like perfectly carve a tunnel through the sticks. And they just enough land behind you. There's a neat pile, and none of you are hit from that. Stick bane. So you have done some improv to poetry, topiary even, and now the path is clear for you to try and bust into this door, Thomas and Kokar.
I think the best I've got
I'm gonna
is
text the
I
latches.
pull-
If
Oh,
you
go ahead. I think Thomas had a better plan.
The best I've got, I pull out my rapier, and the bottom bit is quite heavy. So if you stand back, I can wha-bam.
Okay.
All right, that sounds fine by me.
I'll stand
I
back.
think that's the
and
best
just
I've
whittle
got,
in some
guys.
sticks.
Roll for attack.
Am I rolling normally since I'm not using the blade of the sword?
Yeah. I can't be able to get into that kind of mechanical weeds. It's a sword.
It's
you know
an
how to use
18
it.
to hit.
Perfect. Roll some damage.
It's a D8. Oh, beautiful. That is a 12 for damage.
Okay, so you like hammer down with the sort of pommel of the rapier, and you see like the little pins and screws around the latches sort of popping out. You could probably do it with another good blow.
Let's hit it again.
Why not?
Let's go. That's a 16 to hit.
That will hit. It is a door that is not trying to dodge you. It's
And another 7 damage.
perfect. Yeah. So those last few like screws and so go bing, 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 and you can just sort of lift off the hatch. And below there is a dark room. Do any of you have dark vision? I would assume Sage does.
I do, yeah, 60 feet.
Nice.
I am but a boring human.
I can't remember if Farfolks do or not.
I'm looking. I feel like I do, but I don't know.
I think as I've got some dark vision, can I peek down and see if there's anything obviously in there?
You can indeed. So you look down and you see that the floor of this room is covered in bones. And
Oh boy. Also, I do have dark vision as well.
oh, perfect. So Kokav can
There's a
also
lot of
see
bones
this.
down there.
Thomas is blissfully unaware of the pile of bones and semi the thing that scavengers do, scavenging. Semi-scavenged bodies are in this room, but there are no other hatches until right at the very front of the train, and you probably only have about 15 seconds at this point before you exit the holy zone, and the shutters will come up again, revealing to you to anyone on the train, if you are still on the top.
I say we just I mean, this is disconcerting, but this whole thing is disconcerting, so I don't know why we're gonna start being squeamish here.
Wait,
I think
what do you
It's
see?
got to go.
What do you see? Wait, what is it? What's in there?
You don't want to know about all the bones. Just go with it. It'll be fine.
Bones?
I
You
mean,
don't know
none
about
of
the
them looks
bones.
particularly squishy, so I think we'll be fine. I do have I have something that I have someone that could help scout ahead, perhaps, though.
Oh,
10 seconds.
All right. I'm gonna jump in
Okay.
and figure this out later.
Okay.
look, I realize this may cause me some disadvantage, but I'm hoping it'll pay off later. Can I jump in head first, trying to see into like the darkness of the carriage on my way down? See if there's
I'm
anything
gonna say you're gonna have to make an acrobatics check if you do that. Like,
Well, I've got +7 on acrobatics, so I'm
that's
hopeful.
good. That's good.
Let's. I did roll a 3, so that's 10 total.
Okay.
Do I see anything on the way down before I land on my head?
Okay. Make me a perception check then as we do that.
That is marginally better. That's a 15.
Okay. So what you see as you come down is that this room appears to have a door at one side. It doesn't appear locked or anything. You can access it entirely fine, and there doesn't appear to be anything obvious. There are just semi-scavenged corpses and bones, and something. There seems to be like slight bits of movement amongst the bones, but very tiny. I will remind you all at this point that Psychon facts do give you an advantage dice to use later, should you wish.
I mean, can I do have a Psychon fact that many predators, as you pointed out, do stash bones and other bits and pieces. It's a wonderful place to find if you are into looking for those sorts of things. But it's also very interesting from a paleontological perspective. And I hope I don't mess up the details on this, but there's a famous skull from I believe an Australopithecine, some sort of hominin human ancestor that was recovered in a pile of bones and had some puncture marks in it. That there's it's believed that this infant hominin was or juvenile hominin was preyed upon by a harpy eagle and then recovered from the ossuarial collection beneath its nest.
Mm-hmm. I have heard something very much like that story that I would have gone to if you hadn't. So that I will give you so that's advantage dice to use at a time of your choice. You can only have one at a time, so don't store them too much. Meanwhile, Thomas is still on the roof, I think.
Come on down, the bones are fine.
With a horrified look on his face, he drops down very hesitantly and tries to close the hatch above him as he goes down.
Okay. Make me just a dexterity check for hatch closing. Like,
Not good. That's a 7.
you kind of like miss the hatch as you go, and it's the hatch is still open. But you are at least in, and a few moments later, you can hear the shutters down the rest of the train go as they return up. So as you find yourselves in here, you take a look around, and there is, as Sage noted, a door at ahead of you on the thing. What is also noted is that this place is crawling in beetles.
Very interesting.
Am I hit with a smell of any kind, since I cannot see a thing?
I mean, you're in a body filled with beetle scavenged corpses, so I'm going to say the smell of beetle scavenged corpses.
Oh.
Can I gather up some of the beetles and put them in one of my many sampling jars I have handy?
Naturally.
All right, I will do that.
I'm vaguely remembering on a Psychom note that sometimes, is it beetles that are used in museums to kind of clean up bones as you're preparing new specimens? But you just leave some beetles with some bones and you get beautiful stuff that is hard to do otherwise. I think from memory that didn't seem particularly dangerous to the scientists doing it, so I'm hopeful that we're not going to be torn apart by these beetles, but I'm also not super sure.
Dermestids are not they only like dried and meat, so we're probably good unless any of us have allergies, which I've worked in the past in museums, and I actually can't do skeleton prep because I'm allergic to dermestids. It's a common allergy that some people have that they don't know they have.
Ooh. Do we know in this particular work of vampire lore how desiccated vampires might be if these beetles will go for dried flesh?
Make me an Arcana check.
That's an 8.
Well, just in case that pans out into something, we can certainly give it a shot. I tuck the jar of beetles away.
Okay. Add a jar of domestic beetles to your inventory. Okie dokie. So, other than that, the door is ahead of you. And I presume you are heading through?
Yeah.
Yeah, do we have any prior information on like what the different cars on this train might be, or are we going in completely unawares?
You are going in unawares, but you were told that your contact will meet you as soon as possible to sort of give you more details.
All right. So my thought is there could be a bunch of bloodsuckers on the other side of this door. And I don't want to open it up and immediately have a commotion when they see us. Perhaps send in something that goes a little bit ahead of us to see if we get a reaction. See if anyone's on the other side of this door before we go through ourselves.
That's an amazing idea, my friend.
All right. Does this door have like a gap under it?
It doesn't, because they want to keep the domestids in, but you can easily just open it a crack temporarily if needed.
All right. I will reach into my bag, and you hear some rustling, kind of like Coco kind of goes like, "Ow, now don't you misbehave. No, no, you're gonna no. We've talked about this." And pulls out a wheel of very stinky blue cheese. And it's, you notice it is wriggling in their hands. And they open up the door and they kind of push it through and just like, all right, Henry, do your thing.
Okay, so are you looking through the eyes of Henry?
So I believe we've previously established, so Henry is not actually a familiar. Henry is just a piece of cheese that may or may not, that can move under his own power.
Yeah.
So you know, what I'm looking for here, Kokov, of course, does believe that they have a very deep understanding with this piece of cheese. But you know, to the extent of which that's actually true could be debatable. However, the goal here is, if a sentient piece of cheese waddles through a car full of vampires, they expect that there is going to be comments and probably some very loud noises. If not, either the vampires aren't very observant, or there's no vampires in the car.
So there is no noise following Henry's entrance into the following carriage.
All right, sounds like the coast is clear.
Actually, a cheese is mortal. I don't know whether a cheese would set off the vampire's idea of this thing shouldn't be here, or isn't a mortal cheese automatically just like close enough to a vampire? We'll go with it.
I mean, does the cheese have blood?
I mean, he does. He has veins. And it's certainly alive. I'm mainly thinking that the blood thing may be a difference, but if there's people alert there on the other side, they're gonna notice a cheese.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't plague any special vampire senses.
I say we trust the cheese.
I mean, that's what I always default to personally.
It's a good life strategy.
Yeah. All right. Can I open the door?
Let's do it.
Okie dokie. So, you open the door and peer forth, and what you see is that this appears to be a luggage room. There is just suitcases and crates and stuff all like tied up against the walls. There's a door at the far end. No sign of sentient beings in here. And Henry is just sort of like nudging the next door.
All right, I'm gonna before letting him into the next car. Tatty. Do any of these crates look like coffins?
Make a perception check.
I would think the exact same thing walking into that carriage.
That is a nat 20 for a total of 27.
They do not. These seem to be more with a nat 20. I would say you get the impression this is more of like the personal belongings of the vampires aboard the train. You get a quick look and you see like some of them just like entire velvet outfits, because there's like paintings of themselves. There's like taxidermied animals, because you have to just take those with you wherever you go. It's just like vampire accoutrements rather than them themselves.
Now,
is there any luggage in the room? Is there any luggage in the room that looks familiar?
Make me a perception check for you as well.
That's cool. As is that?
Both of you.
Oh, that was a very good roll. Perception. That is a dirty 20.
Excellent.
Yes. You see a very familiar. I'd say it's like a traveling trunk, sort of propped up in one corner. It looks like it was probably quite expensive once, but it's subsequently been like painted black, and it's just kind of chipping through a bit. It's you know this trunk.
You see Thomas looks over at it, sees that it's chipping, and smirks a little bit before nudging, we should follow the cheese.
Just before we go, I am thinking, you certainly look the part, of vampire, but, Sage and I, we're gonna stick out like sore thumbs. Perhaps we should, don some disguises.
I
Well,
agree.
also, I just would like to steal some fancy clothes because I don't own any personally, and
I'm just a fan of looting.
Yeah, let's redistribute some wealth.
Nice. I
Nice.
feel like it's been a shopping trip so far. We've got some new steaks, we've got some beetles. Let's find some clothes.
Okay, so I'll say, with the benefit of that nat 20 we had a minute ago, you quickly find some like really nice fitting outfits. I mean, it's all in like vampire things. So you got your velvets, you got your silks, some leather, and some points. Take your pick of whatever you think your vampire outfits would look like.
I think largely the same as what I'm wearing, but more dark and more billowy.
Okay.
Got to have all the billow.
Yep.
Probably a nice like velvet evening jacket, but making sure that it still has pockets. Just worn over everything. And I also would like to give Henry a little bow tie.
Awesome.
He's classy.
It's very important.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit of a cheesy look, but he pulls it off.
Can we give the DM disadvantage? So one other question with that perception check. The other thing that apart from coffins, do I see anything that looks like jars of dirt or stuff like that?
You do not. This is you with that nat 20, you get a pretty good insight on this. This isn't like where the vampires who are coming to do the stuff are necessarily storing their stuff. Like that they would be using themselves. They will probably have their own apartments aboard the train later on. This is just like their surplus junk that they feel the need to take with them.
All right, fair enough. Great. Yeah. All right. Onward. Chatty. Let's follow that cheese.
So the next room, as you open up into it, is just lined with barrels of various ages and sizes and levels of red coloration, with various inscriptions carved into the wood near. And they read things like it's like elf, 470-year-old. Like it looks like it's been sort of written on by like the servers rather than the actual like from Neverwinter, good vintage. There's just like a barrel of just like some, like dwarf from like 3 years ago. and there's just odd drips around the room, and you have a pretty good idea that this is the vampiric equivalent of the wine cellar.
Can we grab a flask of the good stuff? I just feel like that might be useful later on.
Sure. Do you think you would have a concept of what a vampire would constitute as the good stuff?
Anything with, I guess, like a layer of dust on it, something that is carried around, but not drunk every day. Maybe in a smaller
Can I
bottle.
assist with this?
Okay, yeah.
I've got a bit of expertise in this area.
Okay, so I would say you can either make a history check or an investigation check.
We'll go for history, and it's still only a 5. I got a nat 1.
Oof, yeah. So you just find you just like the barrel that is the dustiest. You can't even read what it says. That's got to be the best one, right?
We'll take it.
Yeah. So
Or decant some of it. I won't take the whole barrel.
yeah. Add a dusty wine flask, I guess, to
Right.
it.
I'm
Is that
wondering.
with advantage? Sorry.
Oh, that wasn't with advantage.
Yes.
Let's try again. Oh, that's moderately better. That'll be a 12.
Okay, so you go together. It's like, wait a minute, and you like smear it off, and this is like, it's like the equivalent of like Aldi like bargain blood.
I'll take it. Yeah, that's the equivalent of what I usually drink. So.
So, but you also do spot in the corner there is a keg labeled it would be, I think, the Viscount of the Caucasian hills, and it's got a date that you recognize is about like 400 years ago. It's got a layer of dust on, but it also does look like it's been drank out of, which the economy blood did not.
Intriguing. I'm going to take some of that as well, I think.
Yeah.
If I can.
Better choice.
Just a small bit.
Yeah.
But I think you get the reach. I want the bargain blood as well, the everyday stuff.
Yeah.
It's like the natty light of bloods. Yeah. I'm thinking we're in here. It might be useful to perhaps try to we might want to weaken our enemies at some point. What if we dump some garlic or some holy water in this blood?
That sounds like a great plan.
I like the way you think.
Do we have any garlic or holy water? Mine is, I think, currently all in grenade form.
One of you has some garlicky cheese.
Yeah. All right. I will. Yeah, I want to take. I've got 2 bits of cheese, so I want to save one of them. But the other one, do I have enough to adulterate? How many barrels can I adulterate with this?
So I was picturing that your cheeses would be like about like a kind of standard size wedge that you might buy. It's not like a whole wheel or anything. So yeah, I would say you could probably. I would say you could tell you what. Make me a. So it's like, what check is it to adulterate wine with cheese? Let's just make it a fat intelligence check to see.
All right. I am also so I took the poisoner's feat.
Oh, nice.
And so could I get advantage on this?
I think that sounds pretty reasonable.
Right, and then I can save my other advantage die for just a little bit. That is a... You said intelligence. That's a 15.
Okay, so I would say that you think you've got enough cheese to at least get a little bit in all the ones that look like they're regularly used. It won't be like this is a room full of a lot of vintages, but you could at least get the kind of popular ones.
Yeah, I'm just gonna crumble some cheese. I mean, cheese and wine are a classic pairing. So yeah, I'm gonna just mess up all the recently used barrels.
Nice. So I'm going to make a note of that.
Can I also make a small hole just in the bottom of some of the unspiked barrels, just so we get a little bit of a leak, removing the other stuff they might be drinking?
Smart.
Decreasing the quantity.
Yeah.
Something, if I can roll to make it look like an accident rather than sabotage, that would be lovely.
Yeah, make a sleight of hand check, I guess.
Yeah. So it's an 18 on the dice and +6, so 24.
Oh dang. That's like you managed to do it. Like you've done the bit of subterfuge before, and you make it look like sort of rats have nibbled through. You even managed to like fake some little ratty footprints of blood going away from the scene of the crime. Okay, so you have thoroughly sabotaged this room.
All right.
There is a door onwards.
That's
I
I think while they're both sabotaging, I'm gently peeking my head ever so slightly through the door. I just want to see what's in the next room.
Okie dokie. So there appears to be a bit of a corridor following this one as it goes into the next carriage. But then there appears after the corridor sort of bends around the corner, and you can hear some talking from a room to the side. It's like it's kind of grimy and unkempt here, so this doesn't seem like where the vampires themselves, these being all like millionaire vampires, would be hanging out. This seems like probably the servants' quarters or whatever the vampire equivalent of.
All right.
We send him a cheese.
Actually, tell you what, and you would actually know this, wouldn't you? So Thomas would know, and it's whether they choose to share this with you, but that most vampires are served by Igors, who are people who enjoy a bit of experimental surgery, let's say, and have a penchant for just turning up behind people when requested without obviously working out how they got there. They are not, strictly speaking, loyal to their masters beyond the point of reasoning. And most of them are actually pretty chill. They want someone to employ them who is fine with experimental surgery of their servants. Is that so unreasonable? And you would pretty much guess this is probably where the Eagles of the various assembled vampires are staying or hanging out.
So when the other two look like they're mostly finished with their sabotage, I kind of turn to them and go, just don't acknowledge, just keep walking and you'll be fine.
All right, I'm
flip
gonna
the collar on my new vampire clothes.
Yeah, I'm gonna tuck Henry back into the bag, even if he kind of puts up a bit of a fuss about it.
Okie dokie.
I'll lead the way, trying to put on as much swagger as I can to try and falsely act like I am where I'm trying to be.
Okie dokie. Make me either a deception or performance check.
Neither are great. That is a 13.
Okay. So you sort of, are you all following, or?
I think I'm going to follow at a slight distance. So if it doesn't seem to be going well, I can maybe jump in a bit more aggressively. But I'm going to be maybe at the back, trying to swagger it off, but with an eye out just in case.
Yeah. I mean, Thomas was willing to trust my cheese, so I'm willing to trust them.
Okay. So you begin to sort of like, you head around this sort of bend in the corridor and then into this room, which appears to be sort of like the Igor common room. There's a couple there playing cards, which is easier when you've got like 3 arms, or like an extra eyeball somewhere to sort of try and sneak over a look at the other people's cards. And then they see what they perceive to be 3 vampires walking in, and then they all sort of like go very much to like, masters, good to see you. And they're sort of like, oh, we better center attention. And you're almost at the door, and you hear, Master Thomas, long time no see. I did not know you would be joining us today. And you turn to see a familiar Igor that you have met before and known quite well.
I slowly turn. It's been a while.
It certainly has, sir. And you see this Igor who has basically they've given themselves like a load of extra joints in their arms, so they're sort of like springs almost that they can sort of like unfold and pick up things from distant counters. They've got sort of a single zigzagged sort of stitch mark down their face. Relatively subtle by Igor standards. Some of them are a lot more patchwork than that. And 2 eyes of different colors. One of which appears to have belonged at some point to some kind of aggressive hawk. Should I let the master know to expect you?
I feel we should let it be a surprise to her today. She doesn't know quite yet.
Very good, sir. It will be a great surprise, I'm sure. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Be a dear and keep this quiet. We won't want her to know just yet.
Of course, sir.
And I turn and I keep going.
Yeah, okay. And
Sage is just trying to play this all really cool. They weren't aware. But having committed to, I'm going to follow along and try and fit in, that is exactly what they're doing. On their way past following, they just kind of turn to one of the Eagles and go like, nice hand. And it's semi-ambiguous whether they mean the game or the surgery skill.
Yeah.
But just trying to like get in a little bit of light.
Just a thumbs up with 2 thumbs. Why, thank you, sir.
I just follow as well.
Okay. So you passed.
I'm not going to push my luck with my charisma.
Yes. I mean, they seem to like. They have a fairly traditionalist approach in a lot of ways. It's like if you're dressed like a fancy person, that means you are a fancy person. They're not going to question it. So you sort of proceed past their room. And as you sort of head out into the next corridor, there is a small like storage cupboard, and you just hear, and the door opens out, and you say, "In here quickly."
All right. Sure. I'm gonna follow the mysterious voice.
Okay.
I'm still very much in my follow the leader mode. Just going with it.
That's fine. So you find like what is probably again like it's where a lot of random like cleaning materials and other sort of maintenance stuff is stored, and you find in there a young person They have sort of somewhat like feminine features, but they're sort of dressed up in like a sort of sheer black silk suit. It's like you've made it aboard, and you can't help but noticing the fangs. It's like yes, I take it you got my letter then.
Yeah. I do have some questions, but perhaps a few of them are going to be answered if I just wait for a second. So I'll let you say your piece first.
Okay. Well, I will try to be brief as we are on a bit of a time schedule here. So, my name is Aspen. Aspen de Sicily. It's my parents who are having this auction. And it's not important. My brother Crad has mounted some considerable debts in stupid bets on cockatrice fights. And we are selling off some family heirlooms to pay the debts. That is not important. What is important to me, and I believe to you all, and to the world as a whole, is I realized that the estrogen and testosteropal were in one of the lots. And I believe that we have an opportunity to liberate them, as I covered in my letter. But I do not have the keys because I am the young kid of this family, and so they do not leave important keys to me. But you are adventurers and are good at beating up people when needed and stealing things the rest of the time, I would like to assume. Is that a reasonable assumption?
Sage is just snarking. Yes.
Well, wonderful. So, ahead of you, I can go over any specific questions, but there are 2 keys that we need to get into the vault room at the far end of the train, where the gems and all the other artifacts on sale today are being stored. My parents have one of the keys, and the gentleman who is the auctioneer has the other one. They are not, in theory, to be removed from that until after they have been bought. So all I need you to do, I will do my best to assist in whatever subtle ways I can, is get the keys off my parents. If you have to stake them or whatever, that's fine. They will be back sooner or later. It's kind of what we do. And honestly, they probably deserve it. They're not nice people. But obviously, if you do that in a conspicuous way, then you will have to fight a train full of rather, in many cases, old and powerful vampires. So I would advise against that personally, because if you get eaten, then we don't get the gems, and also then you'll be dead. So, I will do my best to answer any questions you might have, and hopefully we can get this all resolved as quickly as possible. And I will say that your best way off the train is eventually the train will be crossing over the river Arakar, and on a good old bridge, crossing running water, not a thing we like. If you were to make that jump into the river at that point, no one is going to follow you there. So I think that is probably your safest bet. Otherwise, there's like a thing with junctions later on, but that means you'll be on the train a lot longer. So I think that's our goal. We get there in about an hour, or maybe an hour and a half, depending on the thing. So, that sound okay as a provisional plan, maybe?
All right, so we just got to get the key. Do we need to also get the key from the auctioneer, or just the one off your parents?
From both of them, yes. His name is the accountant. He's very meticulous in his numbers.
All right, a plan is already forming on that regard. But all right. Second question. I forgive me if this is a personal question. I know there are several different varieties of vampires. Are
that's
all
quite
y'all? Yeah, are all y'all on the train? Are you the no garlic, no holy water type, or we got some you got some distant cousins aboard that might have other things going on?
So there we have a couple. Most of us, or the majority at least, certainly are of, as you say, what we prefer as well. We say we. It's a bit of a gross term. High vampires, they like to call themselves on average. I try to avoid the term. We do have a few exceptions to that. There is well, I mean, there are 7 bidders. Put it this way. Some of them are the high vampires. We also have a lady from a far off country who appears to be a proxy bidder for some other unknown faction. She's quite odd. She hops, and she holds her arms out straight the whole time. It's I don't think the garlic and stuff works on her. I haven't honestly, I don't know much about her deal, but she's certainly not a traditional high vampire.
I didn't stock up on gluten's right, so that's a problem.
Yeah. There's also a young gentleman called Henry Sulkin. Honestly, my family are a bit snobby about his sort. They don't really have any of our weaknesses. They kind of sparkle a bit. It's kind of weird. I don't really know what their deal is. It's kind of
all right, well that one will be susceptible to teenage angst, so that's
and there's a doctor on the train as well. His name is he seems to have somehow changed himself into a vampire scientifically, from what I understand, through some sort of odd chemicals. His name is Dr. Jared Macabrius. He's a rather odd fellow, but those are the 3 that won't the traditional bits and folklore won't work on so well, to my understanding. There is also a lady called Hecatas. She's not quite the same kind as us, but has the same weaknesses. She's like the sort of like the long fingernails and the ghoulish features and all that. But sort of big bat ears as well. But the same stuff should work on her, if not more so, from my knowledge. I probably should be sharing all this. Don't know. This is an important thing I'm doing. Like, I'm doing it for the good of the thing we all share. Let's put it that way.
Understood.
All this information, and you did not mention in your letter that Ash would be on the train.
Is that going to be a problem?
I have already been recognized once.
Okay. Okay, so if Ash is known, I mean, what does Ash think you're up to these days?
Goodness, I can't remember what I told him when I left. I don't think I really remember much of that day at all.
I mean, okay. Like, what I can do is I could go ahead and cast some kind of glamour on him so he thinks you look like someone else. How about that? But that will like kind of preclude me from getting involved in other ways. Like I do have a bit of magic at my disposal, but like if if you think keeping him off the scent is the important thing, we'll do that.
You save yourself. We might be able to use this later.
Okay. So I mean, I will do my best to smooth over any suspicions in the background while you are around. I mean, I believe you know a little bit about how we operate and are probably fairly confident in that sort of area yourself. Yeah, so like I'll just try and make sure that no one is thinking that you might be suspects in this. As long as they all think the other people know about you, they'll act cool. But we're quite vain by nature, to be honest. So any other questions at all before we get this on the road?
Not so much a question as a piece of advice. If you go for any libations later, maybe stick to the rarer vintages.
Okay, that is good to know. Oh man, like, okay. So my brother's a dick. And which one did you touch? Because I really want to recommend him something to teach him a bit.
Yeah, just whatever. I'll pass on the names of the ones.
Yeah. So he's like, okay. And there's like a smirk across their face, just like, Okay, so just to sort of give you a bit of an idea of like what's ahead of you on the train in general. So we have where I scroll to the correct bit of my long document. So next carriage along are the guest quarters where the bidders and the accountant are staying. I don't think many of them are in their rooms right now, but you might be able to catch one or two where unaware. Do with them as you wish, I guess. Like they might. Honestly, vampires are kind of like cats in that, like, if you just stick a load of us in a room, we will try and like fuck each other over. It's like I can't really have like. You saw what I was doing with my brother. Like, why am I doing that? It's just a thing we do. Anyway, like if you want to use them to your advantage or just take them out of the picture, go for it. As long, like I say, just don't raise suspicion. That's where the danger comes in. Overall, the trains are fairly like soundproof from each other. Beyond that, there is the dining hall where probably most of the others will be gathered. I believe the accountant is in the actual sort of grand meeting hall, which is where the auction itself will take place. Beyond that are the family chambers of my family, my parents, my brother, and myself. Then the vault. Then it's like the engine of the train. So, I mean, one other thing. Try not to fall off the train. I mean, beyond the obvious physical injury of falling off a train, which would be probably pretty devastating to you squishy mortals yourselves, we are going through like Fey kingdoms right now, and they will probably unleash shit on you. We are in a big iron box, so there's like an accord that they will not go into the big iron box because they will not like it. But you will probably not be seen again if you enter those woods for now. So just let's cross that one off the options list for you.
All right. Well, seems like we got our task set out for us.
I mean, I'll be able to follow you up till the dining room at least, and sort of I'll try to run a bit of interference to whatever you think you need best I can. But beyond that, just be on you.
All right. Let's
Shall
roll.
we?
Let's do it.
Okie dokie. So, Aspen leads on to the next carrot and just sort of opens the door. And you do see ahead of you it's a corridor, and on each side are 4 doors. I can count. I'm an adult. Down one side, you are told that these are the rooms of Hecatas, Henry Sulcan, Ash, and Heng. On the other side, you're told are the rooms of Macabrius, Barb, the Accountant, and Count Straken.
Is there anyone on the corridor already?
No. The doors are all shut right now. I mean, you could certainly make perception checks if you wanted to hear if there was anyone in any of the
I
rooms.
will do that.
Okay.
That is a 10.
Okay, so either there's not, most of the rooms seem quiet right now. The only one you can hear anything from immediately is the room of Henry Sulcan. You can just hear sort of like what you would probably best describe as the noises of a broody teenager.
All right. So, my thought is we go for this accountant fellow first, because I got something that I think will keep him occupied, and I pull out my bag of millet.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay. So, you are Aspen points you to the accountant's room. And is able to sort of, Aspen has like keys to all these rooms because they like own the train, well, their family owns the train. And you open up and you find a room just filled with bookshelves. And every single one of these is filled with books on numbers or maths or otherwise sort of books of figures, and they just really love numbers. You know where this is going now, don't you?
Killed a count from Sesame Street and my childhood. Right.
This is an entirely legally distinct character, I'll have you know.
Alrighty. What are you doing? Alright. So is there like a coffin or something?
There is indeed a coffin, sort of laid out in the middle of the chamber, with sort of numerals engraved into the wood.
Alright. I'm gonna go and I am just gonna crack that bad boy open and dump in my bag of millet.
Okay. As you sort of open it, there is no sign of any entity within the coffin at the minute, but your bag of millet is now within the accountant's coffin.
All right. I think that's basically just a time bomb now.
Yeah.
If by time bomb... What?
Ooh.
Ooh. This is when we need cat on for maths. It's like, I don't know maths. Like, numbers are things that add up. Put me on the spot. What is the fact about numbers? I have no idea. I'm drawing a blank. On a slightly pop cultural note, the reason that the count was originally created with an obsession with numbers was the whole counting thing. So not a science fact, but just a fact. So we will find some science when the opportunity arises, and something words something.
Yeah, I do have a millet fact.
Ooh,
So
that'll
people may
do.
not be super familiar with millet, but so for those of you who are like, I don't really know what that is, it is a type of grain nowadays, probably best located at your local fancy bougie health food store. But it's actually a very ancient grain that they think probably might have been domesticated before rice was, and so like a lot of it's one of those grains that used to be eaten a lot more widely. And it might be one of the oldest cultivated grains around, but there was a lot of fighting over that. So fun fact.
Amazing.
Millet facts. Awesome. So that will additionally give you an inspiration dice if you still need. You don't have one at the moment, do you?
I have one. I still haven't used. I haven't used my other one, so
Okay. We can donate that to somebody. Let's tell you what. It's my game rules. You have 2 now. That's fine. They stack now. I've just decided.
I'll need it when I roll one on something important here.
Okie dokie. So, with your trap, I guess, for the accountant laid, is there anything else you wish to do in any of these rooms?
I think I'm gonna definitely try and sneak my way into Ash's room to see what I'm dealing with here.
Okie dokie. So, so you sort of sneak your way into Ash's room. Let me just get Ash's stuff up here. So this is the room of someone who thinks they're incredibly awesome. There's like a portrait of themselves facing their own, like where they'd get out of the coffin. Just like in the portrait, they're just sort of reclining on the chair, like spreading.
Oh, I always hated that portrait.
Yeah. There are like a selection of very expensive musical instruments in like ebony, sort of up on the wall, and you know for a fact that they're actually shite at them. But definitely used in the sort of like the initial glamour when they're first introducing themselves to someone. Was there anything particular you were looking for in there, or?
In particular, I'm looking to see if there is perhaps a second person staying in that room.
Make me a quick perception check.
That was a natural 1.
You're like, with your human eyesight, you're like, it's quite like, I mean, this is clearly like they've set it to mood lighting. Yeah. Just like, and you can't really, but like, not even like good mood lighting. It's just like lighting that's just too low to quite see what's going on there. There's like maybe there's someone hiding in there, but like they could.
Can I also take a check?
Yeah, of course.
Let's have a look. That is not amazing. That is an 11. But I have better eyesight potentially for darkness.
You do. So you have a bit of a look around, and you don't see any people in there, but you do find sort of lying on top of the, or sort of inside of the coffin, which has been sort of left open, is a journal.
I'll pick it up and kind of take a look at it. Does it seem like something I can read?
Yeah, it's written in common. It's fairly sort of pretentious script. Like, but not. It's not like a pretty script. It's like definitely someone's just like. There's like a page at the back where you can see them like practicing it to sort of give the right image. It's like this is definitely a sort of a try-hard of a person.
Do we feel like this person would be embarrassed enough that it's potential blackmail material?
That's certainly a
No.
possibility, but
there might be something in there that's blackmail worthy, potentially. But don't look too far back, please, for my sake.
Well, I think I'll give you the journal. I think you're best placed to know what we can use in there to maximum effect by the sounds of it.
Okay. So if you want to have a rummage through there, make an investigate check. Are you looking for anything particular?
I just want to know if I would potentially still have sway with them. If I tried to fake it, would I be able to persuade them that I was still interested after everything?
Okay. So yeah, make me an investigation check to see what you can find. Because you don't have time to read the entire journal before you have to do this heist, but you can probably have a skim through it and get the best bits.
There's an investigation, right?
Yeah.
I have advantage on that.
Oh, nice.
God, that makes it a 22.
Oh, dang. So, like, you know his pattern of, like, how he notes that. Like, about 50% of the journals is, like, really cringy song lyrics he's tried to write with, like, multiple bits crossed out. And it's just, like, it's just bad. You do, however, eventually sort of find this, like, there's, like, the sort of, like, conflict between, like, their own sense of inflated ego and massive existential crisis that, like, someone could leave them. It's just, like, it doesn't compute for them. Like, it's like there must be some mistake here. Just like that just no one could leave me. That just doesn't. No, it was probably one of those other vampires. Like, Thomas will be right back. Just you'll see. Like, and it's just like it. There's like a shaken confidence in. It's like writing it down is trying to convince themselves rather than is actually what they believe necessarily.
I don't know whether to be thrilled or disgusted. But I pocket the journal and I urge us to keep moving on.
Okie dokie. So add Ash's journal to your imagery. Oh, you also notice that they've decided to they've gone through several attempts at changing their alias, and they've now decided that they're going to be Le Rouge for the time being.
Le Rouge.
It's there's like a load of like things. It's just like Scorpius crossed out, like it's stuff like that. It's Bloodstone. Like it's just there's like about 3 pages of just like lines. Some of them, the most questionable ones, still have question marks listed under it, and then eventually it's Le Rouge is the one that seems to have been decided upon.
I mean, I think we've all been there.
Yeah. 2 rooms down. Do you want to look at any of the other ones?
I think Sage is mostly kind of eyes on the prize at this point, so not hugely investigating unless kind of a cursory check suggests there's something valuable in there. Or
okay, make me let's just say an insight check just to see what you
that's a 7.
You're like, these are doors.
Yeah, but very much in character.
Yeah.
What was Aspen's brother's name again?
I don't think his name is Crad. His name is Craddock, but he goes by Crad.
All right. Okay. I would like to put my ear up to the door of the legally distinct from Twilight vampire.
Okay. So yes, Henry Sulkin, and you put up, and he just appears to be sort of like mumbling to himself, just like, "I'll get back to you, Nella." Like,
Nella, is that the name?
Nella, yes. My family can't separate us for long.
I would like to reach into my bag, and I would like to pull out a piece of parchment.
Okay.
And I would like to just write on it that Brad has his sights on Nella, and then just slip that out the door. And then so that might distract certain other vampires with some internal drama.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, make me let's go with persuasion or deception or performance, just something.
I'm gonna burn one of my inspiration dice on this because I really just want to make this work.
Okay.
Let's see. What were my options? Perception or persuasion, performance,
or deception?
Oh, cool. That's a -2, a -2, or a 1. So I guess it's gonna be persuasion.
Yeah. Okay.
I have dogs interfering. All right. That's an 18.
Okay. So you just sort of like carefully like, I mean, is your plan to sort of basically just like slide it under the door then run away?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So you write out this like this note and slide it under the door, and then for the sake of argument, just sort of jump in into LaRouge's room with the other two and just with the other three and close the door.
Yeah. I'll knock quickly on the door first, just so he knows to look, and then I'll jump into LaRouge's.
Okay, just like so you hear just like, what? That crad? He can't take Nella away from me. I would kill that guy. And then you hear the door slamming, and he just like storms up the train. Just like mumbling to himself brutally as he goes.
Perfect.
No one disrespects Nella Goose in my shop.
Alex. I'm sorry. I just took psychic damage from Nella Goose.
What? It's an entirely original character. I don't know what you're talking about. So, anything else you want to do before proceeding onto the dining hall?
Onwards.
Okay, so
I'm happy to go.
So okay, awesome. So I think you head on in and open up the door, and this whole place is sort of like covered in like gold. It's like this whole train has a sort of like Gothic Orient Express kind of vibe going on to begin with, and this room is like particularly like everything is just gold and rubies and plush velvet drapes and things. As you sort of like look out the window, there's sort of a view of the sort of twilight of as sort of darkness comes in, so they are sort of out to dine, and they are all at their tables with sort of various sort of glasses of blood. And I think for the sake of pacing, I think this is where we shall take our little break. 5 or 10 minutes, people. What we're feeling?
I need to feed the dogs, so a 10-minute break would actually be very helpful.
10 minutes then?
Yeah.
All right,
And
everyone.
also I need to find the die that one of them just knocked into my table, so.
Naturally. Is that okay with you, Sam? So back at GMT wise or UK time, 10 to 9. And see you all soon.
Oh dear. I'm sorry to tell you this, Katanga, but I'm afraid that this misery high bluff you keep talking about has just been a figment of your imagination.
Can Katanga make an insight check?
Absolutely.
Do you want me to roll deception?
No point, because that was a natural 1.
Well, if I notice this mid smooch, can I flick my tongue out for a quick taste?
Sure. Make a sleight of hand check, I guess.
What is
Sleight
with
of
your
tongue.
characters and tasting things?
Mate, we've talked about these like these body image issues, and like you can't be comparing yourself to like refreshing beverage cunt of all people.
Most of the fleas, because I assume Dream isn't actually being all that careful.
No.
So a lot of the fleas do manage to like jump ship. And I don't know what happens if you pour bleach on a flea. They might be fine.
It might disintegrate, I don't know.
Yeah.
Google it.
What happens when you bleach a flea?
Live Psycom coming straight at you.
Look, Psycom's just being... Okay, so...
That name.
So when the Sex Muskets sing, "God save the Queen," they actually literally...
Yeah, they're quite sincere. A fascist regime, which we approve of.
I called out with my own deep throaty alarm call as well.
What are you doing down here?
Oh, we're just taking a shortcut. You know, just traffic.
We're fumigating for sewer clowns here. You can't be here.
Oh, no.
Oh, I've been called worse, but you better shut your mouth.
We all know the real sewer clown is Elon Musk and his tunnels, so... Kick me off Twitter, Elon, I dare you.
So, Boomslang will disguise himself as Reginar and be Big Spoon.
Okay.
I got you, buddy.
So we cut to a scene where this Yuan-Ti, this snake person, is spooning a pudding angel.
No. Snake person disguised as a halfling.
Yes. Oh. You're even bigger a spoon than I remember.
Yeah, I just, I just have that energy.
Delightful. Angel delightful. And then we fade to black.
Is that your full name?
Fade to black of spooning.
I don't want to miss a thing.
So you see in the room Eridark Ariesis, who is a pallid elf fighter gunslinger. Do I have guns? Do I fuck? What you see is
And welcome back. If you can hear us, hopefully. You rejoin us in the middle of the transaction in which our team of trans adventurers steals gems from vampires on a train, because why not? Our party have just arrived in the dining hall where various of the rich and wealthy vampires are currently supping upon blood out of expensive goblets, and you notice a few of the ones that you have been made familiar with. You do spot Henry sort of charging up the carriage and leaving this room as he goes to confront Crad, who you have just convinced is going to steal his girlfriend. So we'll see how that comes out later. There is also an Igor here, an Igor, who is serving various wines with wine menus that seem to sort of have been carried around by a little stitched together dog. Because. And another Igor is up at the top. I mean, it would normally be considered a one-man band, but I feel it's slightly cheating when it's like a one-man orchestra with like violins and a piano, stuff going on with different sets of arms coming out of places where arms shouldn't come out of. And in the room, you see several of the other figures who've been mentioned thus far. In the back corner, you see what in our world we would describe as a Nosferatu type vampire, who is just sort of very sort of quietly sipping away at a cup, looking kind of dour. You see someone who looks like they've done a lot of cocaine, sort of in one corner, sort of like looking broody. He's got a little beard. Kind of, as my notes say here, cocaine Jesus is kind of what he looks like. And you assume this to be Dr. Macabrius. You see a sort of a punk lady in her 70s wearing a sort of studded leather vest top. Got bleached hair, a duster jacket, and very prominent cheekbones. And this, from what you have understood, you believe to be Barb. And you also see the hopping being who was mentioned to you earlier. Make me an Arcana check, everyone, just to see how we're faring on that one.
Yeah, this is gonna be annoying because I know what it is, but Kokov only has a 13, so I doubt they know what it is.
Okay.
I somehow managed a nat 20, despite only having plus one as a modifier.
Nice.
Which roll was that again? Remind me?
Arcana.
Arcana. That is a 17 for me.
Okay. So, Kokav has there's something like it's like on the edge of your tongue, but you can't quite get it out. But Thomas and Sage, like, you have all been in the vampire hunting business for a while. You recognize this as a Jiangshi, which in the human world that we live in is a sort of not exactly a vampire, but is sort of a Chinese sort of a vampire adjacent being. She is standing very upright. She has her arms with long claws outstretched, and in one of them she is holding what looks to be like a rotary phone with like the cord like stretched to her ear. She's got little sort of black glasses on the end of her nose, and she's like, yes. So sort of like she's just in a business call right now. Yes, those are the vampires you see around this particular room right now. None of them seem to. Oh, no, there is another. With their back to you at the minute, but you see those legs spreading out excessively wide, either side of the seat. They posture themselves. They put themselves right in the middle of the room. It's just they're in sort of like well, they've got like a big sort of what they call cravat kind of going on, and they're just sort of lounging like they own the place. And certain member of your party is very familiar with this being even from this suboptimal view.
Has anyone clocked me as I walk in the room?
The Zhangxue certainly has. She just sort of looks up with you with a blink and then is back to her call, paying attention. Let's have a roll for the others and see where they're at. The Nosferatu is more or less just sort of sullenly cupping her drink. She's not paying any attention. And Macabrius sort of raises his eyes to you and sort of pouts slightly. And then snorts something. And lastly, the punk lady also seems to notice you and just sort of like interesting kind of look, but just sort of like it's like vampires are naturally pouty people. And there's a lot of like posturing whenever like a new figure enters the room. Ash, aka LaRouge, appears to have not like looking who comes in would be unbecoming. So if they have acknowledged a sound they come in, they haven't looked.
Good. So who are we heading for first? What's the plan?
Is there anyone in the room who looks like they have access that might be useful later on? Like, we're going to some place which might be a little bit more high security. Anyone who have a key, something further up that we might want to lift on our way past?
I mean, you roll an insight check.
It's going to be an 8. That seems to be the recurring theme of my insight.
You're just like,
yeah,
like, I mean, yeah, with an 8, you don't really get a lot. Like, probably not the cocaine guy.
I think Kokhav's whole thing right now is just be kind of like just kind of be low-key messing with everything to like cause distractions. So, and also we need to know where the accountant is.
Okay, so Aspen had mentioned the accountant is in the sort of the grand hall, which is the next room along from here, because he'll be like setting up the auction.
Okay. But also having him distracted might be helpful. So, who, like, I've got a couple of like thoughts on who couple of people who would be the most useful to distract him would be, but can I do an insight check to see like if I went and told one of them that like he requested to see one of them because there was an issue with their payment stuff, who would be the one who would like take off and like go give him an earful?
Okay, make me an insight check on that.
Yeah, because like I feel like it might be the Jiangsha, but it might also be one of the other folks. I'm gonna use my other inspiration dice. Okay. Oh, good. That went up from rolling a 2 on the dice to 3 on the dice. So that's 10.
Okay, like you can't get any great insights, but like the Jiangshu does seem to have a slightly more business-like attitude than the others.
Yeah.
She strikes me, or strikes you, sorry to say, as someone who actually has their shit together in a way the others don't. That's about all you can gain from that.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna go with my gut on that without any further information gleaned from that lackluster roll. And I'm gonna do my best to look like a lackey, basically, like low-ranking vampire, just here to help out. But like go up and then just really apologetically, excuse me, ma'am. I'm real sorry, but the accountant said that he needs to speak to you regarding something about the payment account setup, that he's run into some sort of issue and needed to confirm something with you before the bid and get started.
Okay, so make me a deception check on that one, please.
Oh, this will go great. Oh, yes. I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna say that this is Tati's role, because she came over and was being cute. That is a nat 20.
Nice. She just freezes mid-sentence, and it's just like, I'm very sorry. I'm going to have to call you back. There has been another issue with the payments. I will get this resolved immediately. What is it this time? She's just like,
I don't know the details. He just needs to speak to you right away up in the hall there. If you will please follow me.
I told her ancient ceremonial burial coins were not accepted currency in most parts of the world. And she just hops.
Yeah, I know. I mean, some of these folks, they just won't want to take no for an answer, do they? But yeah, I understand. But hopefully we'll get it taken care of right away.
Okay, so are you actually taking him into the next room?
Yeah, I'm gonna follow. I'm gonna follow along, just and then just kind of be like, as we go through the door, just kind of gesture and then stand like I belong in this room.
Okay, so you just hear, as you sort of open the door, it's like 1 bidder, 2 bidder, 3 bidder, 4 bidder, 5 bidder, 6 bidder, 7 bidders. We have 7 bidders here tonight. Yes. And this little scratchy notebook is going on as he's sort of this item will go for 1 million when we start bidding, and this one for 1.2 million. There's just a lot of numbers. But use this it's people usually power walk up to people when they're going to confront them about a difficult situation. It's kind of hard to get that energy with hopping, yet somehow she manages it.
I love it. I would never kill her. She is too cool. I root being the middleman who has to deal with other people's shit.
Yeah. You just hear him going into him listing off excruciatingly long decimal points of exchange rates at her, and she's like, I do not care about this. We need to sort that. And yeah, so they appear to be sort of fully engaged with each other right now. If that was your...
All right. I'll let the others catch up before I execute next stage.
Okay. So you do note that, however, for Thomas to get up to that part of the train, you would have to cross the eye line of a certain vampire.
Yes.
I think, can I help? Do you need a distraction to make your way through here, Thomas?
Perhaps a distraction is exactly what we need for the heist.
So I guess we need
and I
to
will gladly provide if we
we
need
get the
one.
most out of.
I'm happy to provide. You go assist. I will stay here.
Okay. Well, if we ever need a slightly less, if you need an extraction, I can always start spilling blood on people because I have a bottle of good and a bottle of bad. And this is a plausible place to do it. So depends when you want to make your big reveal, I guess.
Up to you all. You're the ones with coming up with the scheme here.
Tell you what, I'll hang back at the back of the room. You go assist. If we need a loud distraction, make a sign at me from the door. I will cause a distraction in this room for you.
Okay, perfect. I'll head on. Thanks.
Okay.
So I try and just like shrink back into the shadows in the back of the room.
Okay, make a stealth check for me just to see how that goes.
I'll use the shadowy dice.
Nice.
That is a dirty 20.
Yep, you don't seem to arouse any notice from any of the other vampires beyond. Certainly Ash hasn't noted your presence yet either. So Sage and Kochav are, I guess, like just in the doorway of the grand chamber. So this is lined with dramatic portraits of the family. You see mostly of the Count and Countess, Aspen's parents, and a lesser degree of like there are some of like Aspen and Crad around. But it's like at the top of the thing there's like a grand portrait of the previous Count, with a list of to steal a Terry Pratchett joke, like he's got his sort of like his birth and death dates, but sort of various levels when he's come back. So it's just like, yes, from sort of like, yes, he was 1736 to 1737, and then again 1739 to 1739. Then he had a 10-year stretch where he's still around. There's like just and then it's like there's obviously space left for more lines later should they be needed. Yes, and otherwise it just appears to be like you can hear like shouting coming from beyond, which you recognize to be the sound of Henry, and the other voice, presumably Crad, and like things being smashed from the next carriage onwards. You also hear like, ooh, like there's an upset dog up ahead somewhere.
Oh no, not a dog.
And but in this room you literally just have the accountant and the Zhongshu.
I look to Sage. Are you by any chance a gifted pickpocket?
I've done my fair share. I can give it a go. Any distractions and help are always much appreciated, of course.
What's the nearest fancy item that's like arranged for sale?
Yeah, so I mean, not many of the items are actually in this room at the minute because they are like locked up in the vault room. There's only a few of what would be basically like the furniture items that you can't really put in a vault are here. So there's like a throne made of skulls, like just like classic stuff. Is you just sort of you get the impression that's kind of gone a bit out of fashion in Vampire Society these days. It's a bit kitsch. There is a bookcase with various like cursed looking tomes in it. Sort of like you hear sort of like
all right. So All right. You say you need a distraction. Here's the best I got. And with that, I'm going to take Henry back out of the bag.
Mm-hmm.
And I point at the bookshelf, and I'm just like, all right, I think your fungal networks need a bit more lignin in them. Go get some cellulose over there.
Okie dokie.
I'm gonna send my attack cheese to go gnaw on some cursed tomes for a distraction.
Okay.
Amazing.
We don't really have stats for him.
The cheese.
Well, I
chicken.
want him to not be stealthy about it. So.
Okay, yeah. Well, it was more that I was going to make him make a wisdom saving throw for eating a cursed book. Let's say he's just got a flat 0 modifier for the sake of argument.
This seems fine. That is a 13.
Okay, so you so you see this cheese sort of gloop its way up the and then just like books just start like just getting flung on. Like, no, 1, 2, 3 books thrown to the floor. 4 books. No, this is unacceptable. Like, what is happening? This is my auction house.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. Hang on a second. Let me help with that. And as I go over to help, I knock over the Throne of Skulls.
No. And he just begins counting all the skulls that have like come loose. There's a lot of them. In the meantime, Sage does have advantage as the Zhongshu is also very distracted. Zhongshu also, incidentally, are also like counting obsessed ones. So she is also like in that like having to count everything that has fallen to the floor mode. So make a sleight of hand check with advantage.
Lovely. Well, I have. The first one was not great. The first was a 4. And the second was also a 4, I'm afraid.
Oh no.
I do have +6 on sleight of hand, so it does get to a 10.
Okay, let's see what we got.
Yeah.
Ooh, unfortunately, he sort of like spins around and catches hand. It's like, what is this? Why are you sticking your hands in my pockets?
I've been muttering other numbers under my breath. You know how you can really throw someone off when they're counting? And I think that might have ruined my chance of it, just to annoy them more.
Okay.
Just be saying
like,
the wrong numbers.
No, why are you saying I'm out of sequence? That is entirely unacceptable.
It's like free-forming.
Yeah.
We're doing a thing.
Let's make an opposed charisma check, I think. Just to see what, like, if you can overpower his sense of counting with your own charisma.
It's an 11, so I'm not sure.
What's your modifier?
So it was a 9 + 2.
9 + 2. So, oh no, he's like, no, this is you're trying to confuse me. These numbers are in the wrong place. And then he begins counting up from 1 to the numbers you were saying, just to ensure that everyone is aware that they're in the exact right place. I do not recognize you. Who are you, and what are you doing here?
The hosts hired us to assist with some of the things that help us set up the auction, some of the stuff that you needed some extra muscle for, but the Igors were probably going to be a little bit susceptible to.
Make a deception check.
I love that I always like default to lying, and all of my players always have shit deception.
Yeah.
Can
So
I
that's a
help
5
with
on the
deception?
dice. If you would like, because right now with my -2 modifier, I've got 3.
Okay, well,
I think you did have another roll in there.
I used it up.
You had 2.
Yeah.
You used them both up. Okay, I thought you still had 1. Okie dokie.
So can I roll deception to help at all?
What would you say to assist this?
I think I'm just very much backing them up and saying, yep, that sounds right. We do what the boss says. We come in and we help out.
Okay. I'll allow you to also. I'll let you roll the second one as I have a suspicion you might have
You
better
probably.
So, the first roll was a nat 20.
So, he's like looking like suspiciously at. So the Zhongshu is like at the minute like carefully picking up all the skulls and 1, 2. Fuck! I hate this stupid compulsion. She's a bit more aware of her compulsions than he is. He, on the other hand, is like, the Eagles did complain about some of the things we had. There was like, yes, there was some divine weapons in there that they did not like. It made them itch.
How many divine weapons? How many? How many divine weapons were there?
Oh, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divine weapons.
Well, yeah. See, that's exactly. So, yeah. We can. Yeah. We're here to assist. I'm terribly sorry about the cheese. He does get a little cabin fever when he's in my bag for too long.
Many of us would get a bit raucous if we were stuck in a bag.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's I could imagine. Although I think you would you'd probably do better than the cheese because there's a lot of other things in the bag that that you could entertain yourself with, but the cheese can't count, so it's all kind of.
Would you like me to teach him? It is my passion in life, you see.
I think I would appreciate that. Henry is always on a journey of self-improvement.
Okay. So he just is entirely distracted by this task because he has been given a cheese to teach how to count. And he also is like, oh, you can take the key to get into the vault. If you have the key from the Lord and the Lady, they will get in fine.
All right, we'll take care of it right away. We'll bring those in. Where do you want us to set them?
Oh, on the 1 to 3rd plinth from the left.
Excellent. We'll get right on that. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes. At this point, you see the Zhongshu like has just about finished picking up all the skulls and just flashes a look at you and is just like, "You're up to something, but I don't mind."
Look,
and there's just a sort of a bit of a wryness to her look, and then she sort of continues back on with what she was doing. Okay, so you are currently splitting the party a bit, and Thomas is still back in the other carriage, whereas there are still 2 carriages ahead of you before you get to the vault, and you still need the key from the De Siciles themselves.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for a sign.
Do we want to grab Thomas, or do we want to let them be there for if we need take the distractions up yet another level?
Yeah, I feel like it's useful having someone on the other side of the swarm of vampires for when we inevitably cause chaos, but at the same time, you don't want to split up too far. Is there something that Thomas is aiming to do, or is it just hide at this point?
Right now, he's just hiding.
Well, let's go.
Right now, he's literally there, ready to cause a scene in case you guys really stuff that up.
I guess would there be any more interesting gossip that you've ever heard while you're in there?
That's a very good point. Do I overhear anything going on in the room?
Okay, make a perception check, and I will say with advantage, because you are sort of just sitting there doing nothing else. Welcome to Tom Astrosai, who is raiding our stream. Hi, we are playing the transaction, which in which trans people are stealing stuff from vampires on a train. Enjoy.
Which roll was it again?
Perception, I believe it was.
Perception. Not good. That's a 9.
Okie dokie. Was that with advantage? Sorry.
That was with advantage.
Oh, ouch. Okay. Let's see what would be going on in here that you might pick up. I mean, most of what it is, like, you're quite near Macabrius, and you just hear like anything that is going on further away is like covered up by the sound of snorting of cocaine.
I feel like the second he receives literally just a head around the door and a beckon, he would make his way over. He's just waiting for some sort of sign that they're okay.
Okay. And I'm going to say, for the sake of argument, that Aspen is still with you. It's like, I still could do some sort of distraction if you'd like.
I mean, I think that probably is the best way of doing it, rather than using one of us to distract. Yeah, I think sending Aspen back to just if you could turn everyone's heads away so that Thomas can make the way through.
Honestly, like, he's a bit of a jerk. Like, do you have any like suggestions on what like might get him like worked up so I can distract him with?
I mean, I don't know this individual, but it seems like perhaps asking him to maybe stop main spread and such quite so much might get a rise out of him.
I mean, Aspen is with Thomas at the minute, so that is Thomas's.
Just. No. Any reference to his music. Perhaps ask him to play something and retrieve an instrument from his room.
Ooh, that's good. Any recommendations? Like, feel free to make up something. Like,
oh, that awful harp lute combination. I've got no idea how it works. It doesn't work. It's a horrific cacophony. It will distract everybody in the room.
Ooh, okay. So you just hear this voice. It's like, I was hearing that you played this like unique thing with a harp and a lute, and then he just like reclines and like throws back his blood and just like, it's amazing. Like, you're gonna love it. Like, I could do it right now if you like. Just like, and it just was like, sure, that would be amazing. I'm sure I would love that. It's like, you just sort of just Aspen. You can just see Aspen just like, it's like, well, and just like, he's got one of those. I think, just to establish for everyone, they use any pronouns. Ash / LaRouge, and just like, well, I think we'll have to sort that out and liven this place up. And he sort of like swaggers down, grabs another glass of blood off Macabrius. Macabrius is like almost like going to reach for it to complain, and then just like, no, I've still got my cocaine, it's fine. And just swaggers out the room, not paying any attention to you whatsoever.
Amazing. I take that as my opportunity to push forward.
Perfect. So you can hear the sort of clang of this unholy harp lute combo, like being tuned up in there, and like, it's like, you can't even tune the bloody things, like, let alone play them. But you do manage to like catch up with the other two, and make your way. So Aspen's like, well, I guess I'll have to stay here to like keep them occupied as best I can.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I'd
Oh,
offer
God.
earbuds, but I don't have any.
Fair enough. And it's sort of just like, oh god, this is going to be painful. This music. Good luck. And then just like turns around and just like waits for the cacophony to unfold. And you are by the door, heading on into the private quarters. So from Aspen's description, to your left is the master bedroom in which Lord and Lady de Sicily reside. In the first door on the right, you can hear like some kind of fight going on. There's just like shouting that's incomprehensible and like people being slammed into things. Like it's not like a vampire fight, it's like two hormonal teenager fight. There is a bit of hissing in there as well. And then beyond that, you know to be Aspen's room, but it is the room to your left, where you believe Lord and Lady Sicily to be residing.
Who, I will clarify, they weren't in the dining hall.
No, they weren't. They are the, apart from Crad, who you are very aware of where he is, they're the only two people who you know of on this train. Actually, no, that's a lie. There are two of three people on this train who you don't know where they are, or you haven't encountered them yet. You also have not encountered Count Straken.
You must proceed with caution.
I mean, we're going into a bedroom of some vampires. There are some things you can't unlearn once you learn them, and I don't want to learn any of them tonight.
Interestingly, you did notice that in the pictures in the previous room that Aspen and Crad do seem to have been like children and have grown older. Like what this specifically means with vampire biology, that's up for you to ponder on yourselves, but they don't seem to be the sort of locked at one age forever thing that is sometimes a thing with vampires.
All right. I mean, I think just strategizing here, we could continue with the ruse and try to get out of here on the down low. I would like to retrieve my cheese before we head out, and if we cause too much of an issue, that might be in question. However, if nobody's looking, maybe we just I wonder if we just take these two out.
I think it's a good plan. We can leave the cheese a while longer. They seem to be learning, and we don't have an accountant in our party at the moment, so if your cheese comes back numerate, then that's great.
You just hear from the room behind you, 3, yes, that is 3 fungal prongs you have made.
Amazing.
D&D, y'all.
Yeah, I'm all up for going in there and taking them out if we can.
Okay. All right.
Well, I do have, and he pulls out one of the stakes. I have one of these.
All right.
Yeah, I have a nice one I brought with me. I mean, I've got kind of the little stakes that we whittled on the top of a train as we went past at the beginning. So if anyone needs a spare, I don't know how effective it will be by comparison, but
I pull out my +1 javelin, which is basically also a stake.
Nice.
Okay. I would also like to take this moment to pull out my last bit of extra potent garlic cheese. And I will go ahead and eat that. For those wondering, this is a Sava's extra potent garlic cheese made from the cows that feed significantly on wild garlic. And so for 1 hour following consumption of the cheese, the creature becomes toxic to vampires who bite them.
Delightful.
All right, let's.
Okay, so it's a pair of the like sort of double doors, sort of huge, sort of the lion head door knocker in the middle. Even though this is an internal door, this is like clearly like an opulent. It's much larger than the sort of guest quarters you passed earlier. It's up to you how you want to enter this room, if that is your plan.
So, are we literally just going to open the door and walk in?
Are you literally just going to open the door and walk in?
I mean, if we can hear anything going on behind it, that might help to inform a little bit how we go in. But otherwise, stakes blazing, I think is.
I'm certainly on board with that as well. Yeah. Before we go in, I am also going to actually, which of us? Let me double check. Which of us is the squishiest? Because I have a stone skin that I could cast on one of us.
Sage has the least hit points. Thomas has the least armor.
Okay. One of you want a stone skin?
Let them have it. I'll be fine.
All right.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I cast stone skin, so you have resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. So
I note that Hogan has just given the party a healing potion.
Ooh, that can be useful in a minute.
So I will say that can be a potion of greater healing to whichever of you would prefer it the most.
All right. All right. I'm ready to go in. I am ready.
Should I lead the way?
Yep. Let's go.
Before I push open the door, is there any noise from behind the door?
Make a perception check for me, please.
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. That is a 17.
Okie dokie. You hear what sounds like the sound of turning pages.
It sounds like someone is awake and that they are reading. Be aware. And I will try and very, very gently nudge the door open.
So we've been in other rooms before, right? Do we have... Trains often have like a set layout in the room. So can we intuit roughly where someone might be wanting to read?
I mean, this whole train seems to be like each carriage has been like customized to order. So
yeah,
this one room is the size of like 4 of the guest rooms. So you would guess that it's probably going to be somewhere fairly central, this bed, just because as you are vampire hunters, you intuit the vampires do like a dramatic reveal. So if it's just like the bed's against the wall in the corner, it just doesn't work for their like vampire version of feng shui. You would speculate it'll probably be right in front of the door, probably raised up a bit.
Okay. With all the probably the disadvantage that comes with it, as we go in, can just throw one of the spare stakes from earlier, just straightforward as a.
So without looking even.
Sorry.
So without looking even, you're just gonna literally just like open the door.
Straight ahead, like, as fast.
Are you trying to trick shot the vampire?
That's what it sounds like to me.
If I can manage it, I think really speed is of the essence. They're quick things. If I can get the drop.
Okay, so yeah, I think if you're throwing it in blind, that would be probably attack roll with disadvantage.
Cool. This isn't going to go well from the first already. So I've got a wobbly table that kept rolling right back off the edge. It was 2 on the disadvantage anyway, with whatever my plus for attack is. That'll be on the stake stacks. But
I mean, unless it's plus, let's see what's with it. Unless it's plus 14, which I'm gonna say it's not.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
Yeah, so let's just call that a no.
Yeah.
So you just like enter the door and you do like the and it does the sort of like super like thing and just like embeds itself into like the dressing table.
I think I've made my point.
In that case, since our element of surprise is now automatically gone, I'm palming my idol of St. Cassala, ready to bring it out if I need it.
Perfect. Right. So, from within, you just hear, "That was an antique, you know."
It's very nice.
And I don't suppose you're going to pay for the repairs either, are you?
Sorry, we're unpaid interns.
That honestly, I expected better of Aspen. This is, and you just sort of this sort of figure sort of does the sort of levitating up from the coffin vertical, and you see this tall, pale woman with sort of knee-length black straight hair. So I suppose you are the ones here to steal the gemstones. Am I right?
We prefer redistribution.
Of course you do. You're peasants.
Yeah, I am.
I want to try and kill them again.
Just like roll some initiative or something, because I got flaming spear ready to go.
Oh, I mean, at the minute, she doesn't seem to be taking you seriously as a threat.
Let's see if it pays off.
I'd like to think I had a hand in that, but
just a little bit.
So, so you must be, let's see, Thomas, Sage, and Kohav, I believe. Like,
you know who I am.
In the broadest of terms, like my dear Aspen is not quite the mastermind they think themselves to be. I'm afraid. Like we've known you've been coming the whole time, you know.
I expected nothing less.
Looking at my spell list and it's not looking good, y'all.
here's the thing. Honestly, I personally, and my husband would agree, do not actually care about the gems that much. If we did, we wouldn't be using them to pay off gambling debts. However, we cannot be seen to be bested by mere mortal peasants. And honestly, it will probably do the guests good to have a bit of fresh refreshments on the menu. So unless you can present me an incredibly convincing argument in the next 10 seconds, let's say, I am just going to have to eat you.
I cast Flaming Spear.
Okie dokie, and I think we should roll initiative as you roll some damage for that.
Let's go.
Alrighty. So she has to make a dexterity saving throw.
Was a bad roll for her. So dexterity. Ooh, but she does have a lot of things. So that is
that's so frustrating. My DC is 15. However, I'm casting at the 4th level, so I have a lot of damage that she's still gonna take half of. 15 points of fire damage.
Nice. I think we are going to have to get some numbers down. 15 points of fire damage off in the distance. Yeah, so initiative, please. As she just shrieks as you
17.
Okay, so we have 17 for...
Got 5.
Okay.
And I'm a 12.
Nice. I'm going to get a better pen than that one. Bear with me one moment. And... okie dokie. So, that will be... what is your dex modifier, Jess?
0.
Okie dokie. So, in fact...
Keeping it simple.
Sorry, and it was Sage who got 5, right?
Yeah.
And Thomas, who got 12. Oakley dokley. So immediately, as this sort of flaming lance sort of impacts her, she's like, and lunges straight at Kohav. It's going to be like a multi-attack, I think, is what we're going to have here. So one of those is a nat 20. The other is a 14. So let's see. So interestingly, though, you did just eat the cheese, which is going to make a big difference in this particular circumstances. Let's make sure I've got that cheese up so I can double check how I said it will work.
If they bite me, they're poisoned.
Yes. I was checking the save, what I said the save was. So, ooh, that's a fail on the save.
I breathe garlicky cheese breath all over her.
Yep. So you, however, do initially take. So she sort of, you see her nails extend out into claws, and that does 14 points of slashing damage as she just leaps on you, and then she sinks her fangs into you. And she does another 10 points of piercing damage, and additionally, oh, is that on that dice? It's not very clear. 8 points of necrotic damage. However, as she does, you can just hear like, "What have you, you vile thing?" And she begins to throw up.
I mean, it's just the finest that the dairy industry can offer.
And that brings us to your turn.
All right. So first thing I am going to do is I am going to use my symbiotic entity, wild shape, which is going to give me 32 temp hit points.
Nice.
Which, oh boy, do I need them. And it also I have a halo of spores now that I wasn't sure if I could use it last turn or not, but it now does double damage, which is lovely.
Nice.
And what else can I do? Oh yes, I have additional necrotic damage when I hit with a melee weapon attack. So I am going to take my quarterstaff and hit her very hard.
Is it a magic quarterstaff? You should have had 1+1 weapon starting with. I don't know.
I used it for my javelin. I had Shillelagh. I'm double checking. I thought I said I cast it before I came in the room, but I'm realizing I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would have just done that automatically, which makes it magic.
Yes. We'll roll your damage anyway, and we'll see what that totals up to.
Alrighty. I am. That is a 17 to hit.
Oh, I thought you'd already hit. But wait, I'm confused now. No, yes, but 17 does indeed hit.
Yeah. Alright, so that hits, and then that is gonna be 10 points of bludgeoning damage, magical, and is going to be I've already forgotten when I said my additional 2 points of necrotic damage.
Okie dokie. Perfect. And that brings us round to Thomas.
Hello. So I see how the fight is starting to go. I realize I can probably do more with my rapier rather than my stake. So I drop the stake, pull out my rapier, and I will activate a Crimson Rite on my rapier.
Ooh.
I will imbue it with 1d6 fire damage. We'll go with fire rather than cold.
Yeah.
On doing so, I will take 5 damage.
Okay.
And that will last for as long as I'm holding the weapon.
Nice.
Then I will make 2 rapier attacks. So, that's a natural one.
Oof.
A natural one for a 7, which I imagine is nothing.
Yes.
I think isn't there still a floating advantage?
I've lost. Okay, in which case, the voice.
I'll take it.
Yep.
Better. Not that great. That is a 14.
Unfortunately, like, even in her like vomiting state, she does like sort of manage to like stagger up the way at the last possible second. It sort of whooshes past her face.
I've got a second attack within that. Let's try again. 7 plus 6 is 13, so also no. Disappointing.
No luck. You sort of like swing back and she sort of like parries the second one with her claws, like horrible mortals. And that brings us up to Sage. Unless there's anything else Thomas was going to do, and I have not skipped ahead unnecessarily.
That's everything.
Sage is very much going to run in and attack. That is what they do best. Hopefully those words aren't too off the mark. So Sage also gets an extra attack. So we're going to go in twice, try and hit twice, and hopefully do a bit of damage. So let's, I guess, do some rolling. So to hit, is it also the modifier from the scimitar in this case?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's 17 to hit.
That hits.
Okay. And that is 16 on damage.
Nice. That's a good old hit.
How's that doing?
I mean, she is a fairly tough lady, so
well, I'll hit her again then, I guess.
Yep. Are you? What class were you again? Were you a rogue?
Fighter.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah. So you get second attack. Perfect.
So that is a 12 to hit.
Afraid not on that case.
I think that's it that I can do though.
Right. So she is going to spend her action vomiting. I hate you.
I mean, at least the feeling's mutual.
Yeah. And she's going to try and make her Constitution save, which she makes this time, and just laughs like, bleh. You're dead. But that is her turn. So that brings us back around to Koshav.
Alrighty. I am going to go ahead and use my apply poison bonus action.
Okay.
Which means that so with my poisoner feat, I can, as a bonus action, coat a weapon in potent poison. And when a creature takes damage from the coated weapon, the creature must succeed on a DC 14 con saving throw or take damage and become poisoned. I don't know how well this works on vampires. We'll find out. I might have I should have. Yeah. I mean, can we say that it's a garlic-based poison? Because I knew this was vampires.
So. And it's they don't have any poison resistance that I can see.
Excellent. I'm a hit. That is a I can't math. That's a 17.
That hits.
Yeah. So that is going to be 9 magical bludgeoning. It is going to be a 3 necrotic, and it is going to be, I need to grab another D8. Go ahead and roll that con saving throw.
Okie dokie. 19.
Damn. Because it would have been 9 poison damage. But whatever.
Druid.
That's gonna be my turn.
Cool. That brings us back around to Thomas.
All right. Let's see if we can do something a bit more interesting. I'm gonna try and use a blood curse of binding on her.
Interesting.
So she will have to make a strength saving throw with a DC 15, or her speed will be reduced to 0, and she cannot take reactions until the end of my next turn.
Nat 1 for her.
Oh, amazing. Okay. So she now cannot move and cannot take any reactions. So we don't need to worry about moving around. We can move as close or as far away from her as we want.
Okay.
So
is she held, or is she paralyzed, or just for whether you will get both?
No. Her movement drops to 0.
Okay, so
she doesn't get any extra conditions on top of
yeah,
that.
so none of you get advantage to hit or anything. That's fine.
No. She just can't move.
Excellent. Nice. So what do you picture that looking like visually?
I almost picture it like, so as they took the damage from the initial crimson rite on the sword, it sort of lit a few red icons up on the sword with some magic-y goodness.
Yeah.
Almost Witcher style. And the crimson rite itself, the blood curse of binding, almost looks like in some video games where they have the magic pulling someone down.
Yeah.
So there's like a red tinge to the air. It's almost like gravity in a very small radius around her is just 10 times stronger.
So you see her just like, ooh, I will destroy you all.
And that was my bonus action. So I'll take this opportunity to swing twice.
Nice.
Better. That's an 18.
Yep.
Should I roll both hits together?
Why not? Yeah. Yep.
And a 12, so only one hit.
Yep, that's fair enough.
And that'll be a D8 if I can ever find one. That will be 9 piercing damage, and then an extra D6 for fire damage.
4 fire damage.
From the crimson rite on my sword, and that's me.
Cool. So that brings us round to Sage.
Fantastic. I think my job has potentially become a lot easier now that I've got someone who can't move away from my sword. So that is very much the plan, to keep using the sword.
Okie dokie.
Or maybe I'll do one with a sword and one with a stake, just to try my luck there.
Okie dokie.
So we'll do first hit with sword, just get a bit of damage in. That is a 16 to hit.
That hits.
And a 9 on damage.
Cool.
And then I think stakes work like daggers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that is only a 9 to hit.
Misses, I'm afraid. So, like, even in her like enhanced gravity state, she just sort of like the vampiric sort of like reaction to a stake is just like force herself out of the way as you kind of swing down. Not so easily.
Is she only held for quite a limited amount of time? How long do we have on this? Is the clock ticking?
It's until the end of my next turn.
But yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm wondering if action surge is worth spending at this
Now's
point.
a good time for it.
Yeah. Does action surge get me an attack and an extra attack, or is it just the one? I can't quite.
Gets you 2 extra attacks in your case.
Oh, great. So let's do all that again.
Nice.
I think looking at it, the scimitar and a stake do very similar things, so I'm just going to keep going with the stake now.
Okay.
So to hit, that would be 12. Let's hope the next one does. That is much better, 18.
That hits.
Right, let's hope it does damage with it. It does 15 damage.
Cool. Nice. So yeah, you just like ram it, like you miss her heart as you like slam it into her shoulder, and you can see because it is like a special hawthorn stake specifically prepared for fighting vampires. There is just like sizzling coming out of the smoke. Anything else on your side?
No, I think that's it. I'm quite glad that hawthorn's very prickly kind of wood as well. So I like to think that having prepared, I've left some of those spikes on there just to really do a bit of damage.
So
I feel like that was a science fact, wasn't it?
I thought I'd throw something in there from.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Okay, so she can't move really, and I'm going to say, sort of for flavour, she can't really see to attack you because if she's like held down to that point, so she is just going to like turn to. I think Sage would be her choice, and it's going to go. Defend me, and her eyes sort of glow red. And can you make a Wisdom saving throw against magic?
I think I have an advantage against being charmed. Does that?
That would count in this case. So yeah.
Okay, so Wisdom saving was it?
Yep.
I have -1 on Wisdom saving throws, so that's a 7, or with advantage, let's see, a 4.
So you are now under her control.
Fantastic.
That is her go. Otherwise, because
hang on. So is that a concentration-based effect that she just did?
That is a good question. Let's have a quick look-see.
Or does it say anything about when she takes damage?
Okay, that's a lot more brutal than I realized when I had her do that. Each time the vampire or vampire's companions do anything harmful to the target, it can repeat the saving throw. Otherwise, the effect lasts 24 hours, or until the vampire is destroyed, or is on another plane of existence, or ends it willingly. So,
all right. I'm going to this won't do anything for that then, but I'm gonna go ahead and use my reaction anyways because I can.
Why not?
And she is going to take some spores damage.
Nice.
Because I got a halo of spores. She needs to make a con saving throw.
15.
That does make it. Okay. Sad. It's worth a shot.
Yep. You just see her sort of like you can see the sort of like particles of spores sort of like hitting her skin and sizzling. It's like, you can't harm me. Something that's petty and small. And that brings us round to your go anyway, though. So,
alrighty. Let me just double check my my thing. You know, I dropped it. I lost it earlier when I got attacked, but I think this time I'm gonna go on back to. I'm gonna cast that flaming spear again.
Nice.
So she needs to make a dexterity saving throw. Which
that
she's
what? That one. You haven't let her move at all, basically, in this whole fight. She's been vomiting or tied down the whole fight.
Okay. That's disappointing. That's 6 fire damage.
Cool. Nice. Any bonus actions or anything?
So as a bonus action, I can move the sphere up to 30 feet. And if you ram the sphere into a creature, the creature must make the saving throw against the sphere's damage.
I thought you'd said spear, and I'm like, I'm not familiar with that, but let's roll with it. But yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna rev it back 15 feet, and then rev it forward 15 feet to just ram into her.
Boom.
Gotta make that roll again. It's a saving throw.
That was a 3 plus whatever, so I doubt that makes it.
No, it does not. That's better this time. That's 9 more fire damage.
UQQ.
I heard that steaks are better on the grill.
Disadvantage for that though. No. We have also just had a player advantage, so there is now a floating reroll for someone who needs it.
Probably Sage.
Yeah. So that Thomas's go. We have one mind control party member. And one currently restrained but about to be freed vampire countess.
So I'm considering what's more important right now. Do we necessarily want to kill her, or are we here for the key?
I would say, because you have fought vampires before, you know that basically the only way out of unmind controlling Sage is to kill her at this point.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be difficult then. Let's think.
I will say that she's looking pretty rough at this point. Oh, we've got...
Okay.
Hogan has given you specifically advantage for Thomas because your glasses are awesome, is what it says in the chat.
I guess let's attack. Let's do a double rapier attack.
Nice.
Ooh, nice. Our first is a 23.
That hits.
And our second is a 19.
That also hits.
Oh, delightful. So damage-wise, we have that's maths. A 13 piercing, and then 6 fire damage.
Oof.
I rolled an 8 and a 6 there.
Dang, nice.
And then a 9 piercing and a 3 fire on the second hit.
9 piercing, 3 fire. So she is looking very close to going down at this point.
And since I dealt damage with a weapon with an active right, I will sear an arcane brand into her. So the more relevant part is each time the branded creature deals damage to you or another creature you can see within 5 feet of me. I imagine since we're all in melee range right now, we're all like real close together.
Yeah.
The branded creature takes 4 psychic damage.
Cool.
So whenever she tries to hit one of my friends.
So say again, Jeff?
If we're like both in melee, should we have been getting advantage for flanking her, or are we not properly flanking her?
I think I was picturing you both being kind of in front of her, not like...
Okay.
Because you never sort of stated you were going behind her or anything, so...
Fair. I'm used to playing with a map, so...
Yeah, that's... Sadly, I am a DM who does not multitask very well, so I do theatre of the mind most of the time. Apologies for our viewers at home for the less dynamic experience.
I just before I end the turn, I will move away since I know she's about to be released at the end of my turn. I will back the hell up.
Okie dokie.
Is it also worth moving a little bit further away from me, considering
That was the plan.
Control?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So we do now come to Sage. So you are obliged to protect and heed your trusted friend, Lady Ophelia de Sicily.
Perfect. That's all I want to do.
She's just being attacked by your friends. Like, what the fuck's with that? You're not directly under her control,
Okay.
but you do take it in the most favourable way you can. So I'll let you kind of interpret that within reason.
Yeah, I
What you think
guess.
would be interesting.
What would I be able to do to help out at this point? So she's now free of binding, so can move around a little bit more freely.
Yeah.
So that's less of a thing that she needs to be able to do. I don't really want to attack my friends, which is the logical way to help out.
Yeah, I don't think you fundamentally would in this circumstance because the way it's phrased implies that it's not like they're not your friends anymore.
Yeah. So is it more, but I can kind of interpose and?
Yeah, I would say that. I would say you could functionally sort of like give other people disadvantage to hit her by like interposing yourself, or you could try and disarm someone, or that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think maybe trying to do a disarm. It seems like a good way forward.
Okay.
So, who's got something that I really don't want them to be able to hit her with?
I would say probably of the two, Thomas is the one smacking her with a rapier.
Okay, well,
you can't
maybe
really
I'll
fireball off.
I'll try and do kind of one of those like little twisty flicks where you can disarm someone and it looks really cool.
Okay, I would say because we're slightly running off the beaten path of where the rules actually are, but I think in this case, just make an opposed acrobatics or athletics check.
Do I pick the one that's better for me or worse for me if I don't really want to?
I would say better for you, to be honest.
Okay, well that's gonna be a +7, so I will out of character. Hope I roll poorly. That is a 16.
Oh, I rolled well for once.
Oh,
that was a 19 on acrobatics.
Nice. So you, like, Sage just like comes swinging to try and like twist it round, but you're this dashing rapier wielding fencer, and just like, no, that's not what we're doing right now. Anything else on your turn, or is that what you get?
Can I do that again?
I would say not, because that seems like an action in itself rather than...
Yeah, it's not an attack. It's a separate thing, yeah.
Yeah.
In that case, I think that's probably... I don't have anything else particularly that I can do at this point, then, I think. Which is probably for the best of us.
So, in that instance, I think we are back round to Ophelia. And she is actually going to make a bite attack on Sage, which you allow automatically, so it hits. So she is going to do... so I need another D4 there. Got 1 too few. So, you take 2 piercing damage. Wait, no, sorry. 4. Maths. Brain broken. 6 piercing damage. And you also take Oof. 14 necrotic damage. She heals by 14 necrotic damage, and your hit point maximum is reduced by 14. So you can't actually heal that 14 points of damage.
Great.
You've had a long rest. And you see her like her wounds like beginning to close as the blood sort of drips from her chin. It's like, thank you for that, dear. And on the plus side, however, you are now no longer charmed by her.
Oh, fantastic.
Quickly. Would I... Oh, no, sorry. Sentinel does not require anything to do with the person being attacked being an ally. Does that bite count as an attack?
Yes.
In that case, I would like to make a Sentinel attack as a reaction against the vampire, if possible.
Go for it.
Hold on. Oh, that is not good. That is a 6.
The hit. No luck, I'm afraid, there.
Worth a shot.
Well, I have my bonus action, so she needs to roll Constitution saving throw.
That is 16.
That makes it. But is she now wrapping up her turn?
Oh, Hogan points out you still do have an advantage for Thomas if you wanted to try re-rolling your Sentinel.
Yes.
And there is another one floating in the ether.
With the reroll, that becomes a 21. So that would hit.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Hogan. So that would be, hold on, an 8. An 8 means it's a 13 piercing and 3 fire.
Dang. So 13 piercing and 3 fire. Maths, brain, something. I think that just about does it, in fact. So how would you like to destroy Lady Ophelia? Sicily?
I like to think that she's just bitten Sage, and just as she's pulling back, I, with the rapier, catch her right in the throat.
Yeah, she's like...
Yeah.
And like bursts into like mist. And a little key drops to the floor. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, that's exactly what we needed.
She will be missed.
All right, let's hustle and get these.
Let's go.
Let's get these shiny rocks and get out of here.
Okie dokie. So you grab the key, run along to the next carriage, and you find the sort of inner vault. The 2 keys pushed into the locks, and in locker 76, you find the 2 orbs set in a little display case. I probably should have queried this beforehand, but if any of you do wish any transitions, they happen the moment you touch them. Whether you express that or not is your discretion and your character's discretion, but it just happens, and it feels like it's always been that, and it's always been right. However, as you enter that room, there is another figure who just sort of appears behind you almost. And you hear the voice of Lord de Sicily. Well, I must say I'm glad you've succeeded. My wife can be a little on the zealous side, I must say, and let's say I'm very proud of my youngest son, and he sort of just pulls back the lapel of his velvet jacket, and there is a little trans pride handkerchief just tucked in his pocket there. He's a good.
Yeah. Y'all have some weird family dynamics, and I just really gotta suggest some therapy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, when my wife reforms, we're going to have to talk with her again. She just gets a bit zealous sometimes, but yes, that is good advice. Anyway, I will not keep you. The bridge over the river is not far from now, and I think it'll probably be quite soon the accountant notices that you are not coming back. I do.
I
need
need
the cheese.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
however, have your companion here for you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I mean, we were gonna run back and still be like, hey, here's your weapon, magic weapons. Thanks for the cheese, and then do it. But this does make things simpler.
Yes.
So thank you much.
Yes, and I would just like to say, however, that if you try raiding my house for any other reason, I would totally just have killed you. But I respect a good cause when I see one. And so, there is, unless there's anything else you want to do or say.
Did Henry learn how to count?
You just see little fronds like, and then eventually it gets a bit muddy, but there's at least 10 there.
Excellent. All right. You keep track of the gold from here on out, buddy.
If we teach him binary, then that can really be useful. Like, we can go a lot higher if it's one front up, one front back down again, another one up along.
I mean, we can make a cheese-based computer.
Yeah, 10-bit cheese.
Oh, hell yeah. All right. Well, that's all I have.
Okie dokie. So, you all sort of run to the engine room of the train where this Lady Igor, wearing like overalls, is like madly and gleefully like pushing various levers and cranking things with multiple arms at once. Just like she seems entirely unfazed by your presence. She just likes running a train. It's just her thing. She's like, oh hi, just carries on back with what she's doing. You see 100-foot, maybe not 100-foot, probably like a couple of minutes ahead of you. There is the bridge that you are to jump off. And you hear commotion from the carriage behind you. First of all, you see Crad and Henry, the vampire, who I wouldn't have named the same as the cheese if I'd remembered that was the name of the cheese. Sort of grappling on the floor, like punching each other as they. But as several of the other vampires who were clearly in on the auction do not appreciate the fact that they just realize it has been robbed, albeit with assistance. You see the Nosferatu just and just sort of talons outstretched. You see Dr. Macabre. It's Macabre time as he lunges forward. There is also the one vampire you didn't encounter, the Count Straken, sort of floating in his massive Dracula collar and massive black and red cape, just sort of lunging towards you. And just as you see a lot of them sort of turning into bats to sort of like approach you quickly, sort of like hissing out towards you in a sort of stream of fury. You just get out onto the bridge, and if you're all happy to, I'm assuming you're making the jump.
I mean, on my way out, I kind of want to dispose of some last-minute items that I've got from your amazing home brewing, because I think by the time you've got that many vampires running at you in a single direction. I kind of have a 1-2 punch queued up. I've got a cricket, which means that people in a certain direction start moving. Well, they've got to make some saving throws, I think, and then start moving in the wrong direction. I also have what I alluded to briefly earlier, is a garlic essence grenade, which is just a cloud of consistent damage while people are in that area. So
nice. So
if I can jump, throw both, and on my way out, just peace out.
I'm picturing that you just sort of like you sort of like jump off backwards and like throw them behind you, and then these like bats start just like flying around in circles in the middle of this cloud, and they're like as the garlic sort of burns into them, and they sort of like flutter around, and then the second, because they are all sort of slightly confused right now, they don't have time to get back inside the carriage as it travels over water. And a funny thing about the physics here, which I hadn't considered until you did this very specific thing, is because they can't cross over water unless they were in the sort of protection of the train, they are functionally like flattened like flies against the front of the train carriage, and they just like pump into mist and drift off. Yeah, like powerful super combo there. They can't travel in a straight line to escape because of the cricket, which is just sitting there going shoot, shoot, shoot. And you tumble into the waters below with your prize. And you've done it. You have liberated the testosteropal and the estrogen, and the world will have the ability to access them again, as they were always intended to be. And that is the end of our story for tonight. Thank you so much for playing with us. Thank you, Jess and Ollie and Robin. Thank you for making this very enjoyable to run. I will let Sam do the rest of the outro spiel because my brain is fried. But thank you to our watchers and listeners and other people who do things good. Yes.
Perfect.
Oh, what a journey. Thank you. I'm back on now. I'm muted for you and Zoom, it might be, but for the audience, I'm muted for the Zoom. Everyone in the audience could hear me already. Thank you so much for those who've been watching. If you're still watching over on Twitch, don't leave. Don't leave. I have something to do. I know it's not the most exciting bit to do the outro, but remember, we are doing a giveaway for our lovely handmade dice bag from Cozy Gnome Co. People have already donated. You're going to let me know if you want to nominate someone else to get a bag. Thank you so much. We will be back again next Wednesday with a pre-recorded version of Witness to Ruin, Episode 3. We just killed a moose. Where are we going next with it? No idea. Thank you so much for those who've been watching, participating in the chat, donating. Thank you to Alex for DMing. Thank you to Ollie, Robin and Jess for participating as incredible players. A really incredible game. And what we're going to do is I'm going to end with a raid. We're going to head on over to Hero Forge. Hero Forge are running an incredible fundraising stream tonight with B. Dave Walters, Connie Chang, Ginny Dye, Jeremy Cobb from Three Black Halflings, and they're streaming for survivors. Charlotte Bear from Tabletop Titties, who we've previously run stuff with in the past as well. So in just a second, I'm going to stick that in the chat. Please do head on over there and see what they're doing. They're taking cards from the deck of many things, like all of the cards. It's really quite intense. But otherwise, thank you so much. I'm going to hit raid now in the chat, and that will go over there shortly. Otherwise, see you soon. Thank you.